The UPSC CSE arena is an ever-evolving space where staying up to date becomes as crucial as maintaining a thorough preparation. With strategic planning and holistic coverage for exam syllabus, Vision IAS Delhi presents GS Foundation course. Avail analysis and integration of current affairs with GS syllabus. All India test series with an innovative assessment system, inculcating post-test analysis, discussion, all India ranking, and more. Explore the holistic learning modules intrinsically designed for the ideal aspirant.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Jasmine Walia, and we are going to have an interactive discussion on essay today. We'll also be writing an essay, and we'll see how we can unfold and understand the different aspects of essay. The first thing which I want to know from you is, how many of you have given one attempt at UPSC? Okay. And how many of you have just started preparing? Okay, so what is the target year? 25? 26? Okay, all right. Anybody who has not started preparing also? क्या भी सोच रहे हैं? नहीं? अच्छा, okay. So this is one part of the mains syllabus. You have an essay paper. So we are going to understand how we go about this. So the first thing, the first idea which we have to explore is what is an essay. So if you can just help me out with this. We are going to discuss, the whole session will be like that we are going to be discussing all the different parts. So what is an essay? School में, college में also we are expected to write some essays, no? क्या होता है उसमें? Or anything about the essay? Okay, detailed explanation is there, right? Yeah. Okay. Okay, organized thoughts, descriptions. Anything else? So this is basically a long format writing which you are going to be doing, right? Essay is usually a longer thing. चाहे स्कूल में भी था तो क्वेश्चन आंसर्स होते थे और essay होता था. Essay would be something which you have to be a little bit more elaborate about an idea or a little bit more details, right? And in terms of anything else, basically here you also have the opportunity of taking your own course of thoughts. जो अपना thought है, अपना idea है, because you have this long format, you can very easily describe that. जैसे normal answers जो आप लिखोगे, if I talk about what's happening in UPSC, an answer would be 150 words, 200 words, 250. यहाँ पे you have 1000 plus words which you can use. So it gives you a lot of freedom of expression. या जैसे newspaper में हम पढ़ते हैं editorials, right? You know the newspaper editorials? That can be something which we can think of as an essay. कि पूरा long detailed description of a particular topic, that is what an essay is going to be. Let's bring this idea a little bit more in line with what UPSC mentions specifically about the essay. So essay is the first paper in your mains. Mains starts with the essay paper. That's the first paper. It's also called paper 1 according to the UPSC marking. And in this, the pattern is this, that there are total 250 marks. All other papers of mains are also 250 marks. So similarly, this is also 250 marks. 3 hours duration. ये standard है. essay के लिए भी यही है. फिर उसके बाद, how they give you the paper is divided into 2 sections. So there is a section A and there is a section B. And in both these sections, they give you 4 essays. Out of this, you are required to choose 1 essay each from each section. जैसे section A में 4 essay हैं, you have to choose 1 to write. And section B में, again 4 essays, you have to choose 1. So overall, what is happening is, in this paper, for 250 marks, you are writing 2 essays, which means it is 125 marks each, and the word limit which UPSC has specified is 1000 to 1200 words. Okay. Now, because there is a choice here, that means you will be able to explore which topic you understand more, which topic you should choose, and that kind of gives you a discretion that whatever you can write best, you choose that topic. Okay. Of course, there will be need for some preparation, some idea of some basic work which you're supposed to be doing. So that's the next thing. What you are definitely familiar with the exam pattern. So what is the syllabus for essay? If I ask you this question, कि ठीक है अब essay को prepare करना है, तो essay का कुछ syllabus भी होना चाहिए. तो क्या होगा essay का syllabus? Okay, ethics, GS मिला के syllabus हो सकता है, सब कुछ, everything which you're already studying for mains, right? Or everything else on the planet, everything you ever have read or know about, that whole thing is the syllabus. Philosophies हो सकती हैं, philosophical essay जिसको बोलते हैं. ठीक है, anything else? Okay, कोई current affair related topic हो सकता है. Right. Okay. But none of this is actually demarcated. Okay. You cannot really. This is basically कि आप content कहाँ से लाओगे? If that was, we would be thinking on that lines, then this would work. UPSC अब क्या बोल रहा है? ये देखते हैं. Because they also release a notification, they also give a syllabus for all subjects. But essay के लिए, there is actually technically no syllabus. This is what they write to describe the essay. So this is paper 1 essay. Candidates are required to write essays on multiple topics. किसी ज़माने में एक ही essay भी आता था. ठीक है, current pattern ये है कि 2 essays आ रहे हैं. And that's what they have mentioned here. When they say multiple topics, that means it's going to be more than 1. They will be expected to keep closely to the subject of the essay, to arrange their ideas in orderly fashion, and to write concisely. So, all these words are important for us to understand कि demand क्या है. Before we go into the preparation of anything in particular, we need to have an idea कि जिसने exam set करना है, ये organization है UPSC, what is their idea, what is their attitude here? So here they are saying, you have to arrange your ideas in an orderly fashion. Your thought has to be organized. See, you have to think about this in a way that you are sitting in this exam to become a civil servant. So ultimately, whatever they are testing in you, they want to know, see if you ultimately have those qualities which are needed in a civil servant. So things have to be objective, things have to be organized, things have to be tangible. They are not expecting, even if they ask you a philosophical topic, right, something about wealth or life or death, they don't want your philosophy, they don't want your abstract ideas कि आप सोचो कोई भी एक थीम पे बस सोचते चले जाओ, ऐसे वाला ऐसा वाइड डायमेंशन नहीं चाहिए. Everything which you do in this exam, everything which you write in the paper, that has to show that you are fit to be a civil servant. So you need to have that balanced mindset. You need to be able to organize things in a way, चाहे आपका thought या आइडिया जो भी एब्स्ट्रैक्ट है, पर आप उसको लिंक कर सको थ्रू टू थिंग्स विच आर एक्चुअली टैंजिबल, विच यू कैन एक्चुअली मेंशन, एंड इट हैज टू बी रिटन कंसाइजली. See, a civil servant will have many tasks which he'll have to deal with. So this thing, this idea of being able to, say what you want to say concisely and to the point, that is very important. So this is what they are saying in the next line also. Credit will be given for effective and exact expression. Okay. Now, suppose you are a deputy commissioner of a district. You will have some 40 departments under you. You have no scope of, sitting with everybody and doing a meeting जिसमें detail में बातें हो रही हैं. Your skill has to be कि आप जितना short में जितना ज़रूरत है उतनी exactly बात कर सकते हो. That is what you have to do. Everything from here to, maybe sitting in a ministry many years after your promotion from here and drafting a law. In all of that, it has to be concise, it has to be organized, and it has to be the exact thing which you are trying to do. This is what we have to learn. Essay is less about content or learning content or, gathering information. It's more about how you are going to put it. So, इसमें सबसे important चीज़ है कि that you have to sit and you have to write an essay. If I take you to the next idea of preparation, okay, कि हमें अब ये prepare करना है, ये section है, ये paper है, of course you have to prepare in this, and the preparation here would be in a way that all that content जो भी आपने बोला कि GS or ethics, of course GS, all parts of GS will be helpful, all parts of ethics will be helpful. You can find some similar themes, questions also here. जैसे environment पे आप पढ़ रहे हो, climate change पे article, essay आ सकता है paper में. So there will be connections here. ठीक है? And as you are preparing for general studies, that preparation will go on. Here the thing is that the additional part of the preparation which you have to do is that you have to understand how to write in that 1000 words. What is that which you are what is that skill which you are going to develop which will help you get more marks? Because this is a paper जिसमें marks can really mean a very stark difference in your overall marks. These are the marks of some of the people who have scored very well in essay this year. Essay में वैसे कारण एक जनरल जो आपको मैं ट्रेंड बताती हूँ, तो मार्क्स जो रहते हैं 120 to 140, 140 plus depending on the paper you can have that score. ठीक है, ये एक good score का range है. So this person, rank 150, Ramesh Chandra Verma, this year has received the highest marks in essay, and this is 148 marks he has got. अब आपके तो ultimately सारे marks add होंगे. In this there are two papers, one is GS1 and GS3, जिसमें marks बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं बढ़ते usually. जैसे in this year the topper, the highest marks are in the range of 103, 109. ये ऑलमोस्ट हाईएस्ट मार्क्स हैं GS1 और 3 के. Getting a very high score like 127 and 134, this is your rank 2. ठीक है, this is slightly exceptional. GS4 में you can go till 120. ठीक है, नॉर्मली पॉसिबिलिटी है कि 120, पर इसमें 100 के अराउंड ही रहते हैं, 100 प्लस समवेयर अराउंड दिस. और एक आधा पेपर खराब भी हो सकता है तो 100 से नीचे भी जा सकते हैं. So there is a possibility of, you know, increasing your score by 30 marks or at least 20 marks on an average with just this essay paper. जिसमें प्रैक्टिस और प्रेपरेशन यही है कि you have to familiarize yourself with different kinds of essays and you have to learn how to write different essays. Content you are already preparing. Everybody is preparing that content. You're preparing your full GS papers. You are going to start preparing from the prelims type of fact-based things also. So वो सबके पास है. अब बिना कुछ एक्स्ट्रा पढ़े 20 marks extra लेने का स्कोप है इस पेपर में. And even if you don't think about getting those extra marks, you cannot afford to lose marks also here. If everybody is getting 120, you know, so it will be a very, very big loss अगर आपके 110 marks आ रहे हैं. If you're writing average essays here or below average essays here. So इस पेपर में सिर्फ practice से, with the things you already know, you can make sure that yes, you are somewhere in this range. And mains के marks में तो 2 marks, 3 marks, 4 marks make all the difference. So rank 1 और rank 100 के marks में कोई बहुत drastic difference नहीं होगा, but ऐसे ही every 1 mark, every 2 marks, every 5 marks, they are very important. And the preparation, you know, a lot of people talk about you have to prepare smartly. तो smart preparation का यही element है कि पहले तो आपको ये समझ आना चाहिए कि where is it possible for me to, you know, get marks easily. यहाँ पे 109 से 120 would be very, very difficult because in paper 1 there are a lot of questions which people have not like heard about also. So उस तरह से questions miss हो जाते हैं, marks ultimately कम आ जाते हैं. But यहाँ पे just by one decent idea of practicing different kinds of essays will be a very good enough exercise. Another thing is, a lot of people feel that this is about creativity or language, right? So, ये सब चीज़ों में again there is a limitation. Like if I have to ask you this question, I want to write a good essay, okay? So, for writing a good essay, what all things I will need? Okay, पहले तो ideas होने चाहिए कि 1000 words हैं लिखने के लिए, ठीक है? फिर ideas आगे आप organize करोगे, वो आना चाहिए आपको कि organize कैसे करना है. What else? Grammar, language. ठीक है, वर्ड्स चाहिए, वोकैबुलरी चाहिए. व्हाट एल्स? कोट्स चाहिए. ओके, कोट्स चाहिए आपको, स्टोरीज चाहिए. बोथ, इट विल डिपेंड ऑन द टॉपिक. ये वाली चीज प्रिपेयर करनी पड़ेगी, ठीक है ना, कि एनवायरनमेंट पे कुछ कोट्स चाहिए हमें, वेल्थ पे कुछ कोट्स चाहिए, लाइफ पे कोट्स चाहिए, इस तरह से. ये एक स्टैंडर्ड बेसिक चीज आप you'll go through this and then you know, you can add through it. Now this is a competitive exam, right? So your essays, your answers are going to be weighed against other people's work. So there would be an element of, you know, some kind of creativity, something special, something unique, some opinion which you will create of your own and you'll put into it. अब इसमें एक जो रियलिस्टिक एंगल ये है कि अब ये सब चीज़ें हमें चाहिए, आएंगी कहाँ से? आइडियाज जो हैं जेनरिक आइडियाज, अगेन जो कुछ आपने जीएस में पढ़ा उससे आ जाएगा. You understand economy, you understand how political system works, you understand how international relations work, you understand what are the kind of problems the world is facing today, so you have that sense. तो ये build up हो जाएगा. Quote stories, when you will practice more essays, you will make an effort to do this. कि सब essays के लिए मेरे पास कुछ quotation, कुछ story. अब quotation story क्यों चाहिए? एक तो ये idea है कि you have to write something impressive. Second thing is you have to write a lot. तो अब कितना आप खुद से बना के लिखोगे, ठीक है ना? तो आपके पास अगर कोई स्टैंडर्ड है, कोई स्टोरी आपको पता है, तो आप उससे लिंक कर सकते हो टॉपिक को. इट काइंड ऑफ गिव्स यू कंटेंट, especially with the kind of topics which are coming in, like the term which was used, philosophical essays. They'll talk about some philosophies. तो उनको explain करने के लिए, again the word I'll use is to make them tangible. वो abstract नहीं होना चाहिए, वो समझ आएगी बात क्या हो रही है. उसके लिए this can be very helpful, especially when you are writing in a long format, so you can use this. There is this idea of creativity will be linked into all of these ideas. Language जो है, again this is something which is personal, which again does not give you a lot of scope of doing something exceptional. इसमें एक रियलिस्टिक एक्सपेक्टेशन आपकी होनी चाहिए कि ये मेरी लैंग्वेज है और ये मेरी वोकैबुलरी है. And that is not a problem as far as your basic grammar is correct. You cannot really compete in that aspect with maybe people who have a better vocabulary than you. ठीक है, क्योंकि टाइम फ्रेम कम है, आपको 1 साल में या 2 साल में करना है. You cannot be competing to somebody in Oxford who is writing essays, right? पर इसका कोई बहुत बहुत ज़्यादा significance नहीं है. If you can do the rest of this well, so this becomes something which goes on the back seat. You have to make sure that your ideas are so concrete, and of course basic grammatical error नहीं होना चाहिए at any stage of mains. That is something which is definitely going to be frowned upon because that's your language which you've chosen to write. So वो उतना ठीक ठाक होना चाहिए, but बहुत exceptional नहीं भी है तो भी वो कोई problem नहीं. इसमें लैंग्वेज में और टर्मिनोलॉजी में a lot of people also think about using the optional kind of knowledge. कि सोसाइटी पे ऐसे है, my optional is sociology, so this I can write. I know a lot of terms. Okay, I know terms like Sanskritization, so I'll use it. ठीक है. Then for others to think about, is it a disadvantage if I don't know this? It's not. प्रॉब्लम क्या है कि आप जो भी एसे लिखोगे, इट विल नॉट, इवन इफ द एसे टॉपिक इज ऑन सोसाइटी, इट डज नॉट मीन कि आपको सिर्फ सोशल एस्पेक्ट्स लिखने हैं. योर एसे, योर व्यू, बिकॉज अगेन 1000 वर्ड्स, यू विल कनेक्ट इट टू एवरीथिंग. यू विल कनेक्ट दैट आइडिया टू द पॉलिटिकल सेटअप ऑफ द कंट्री, you will connect it to the economic aspect, you will connect it to environment, you will connect it to international relations, yes, history of course, you will connect it to history. So when you start going into that idea also कि मेरा optional है तो मैं optional की tone में लिखूंगा, उसमें भी problem ये आ जाती है, then you miss on a lot of other interconnections which you could have created. So there are no impediments, there are no roadblocks. This is one paper which gives equal opportunity to everyone to do really well. And the fact of the matter that you get to choose from 4 essays also gives you another advantage that yes, you can place your best foot forward. आपका जो comfort zone है, आपको बस वही देखना है कि हाँ, this is what I am comfortable about. बहुत सारे लोग जो हैं, what they do is, and they look at a paper and they feel कि ये ज़्यादा easy है, इसको नहीं लिखते, सब इसको लिखेंगे. ठीक है, एक इस तरह का भी माइंडसेट है. बट व्हेन दे स्टार्ट राइटिंग, द प्रॉब्लम इज दैट इफ दे कांट जस्टिफाई इट दैट वेल, देन इट अल्टीमेटली मीन्स कि नंबर तो नहीं आएंगे. आपने डिफरेंट टॉपिक चूज किया, इसके कोई नंबर नहीं. ठीक है, आप अपने आइडिया को कितने अच्छे से एक्सप्रेस कर रहे हो, दैट्स द मेन डील. Now the next question which I have for you is, when does one start writing an essay? How many of you have written an essay before? Okay. Can you tell me कि essay लिखने में क्या problem आ रही है या क्या challenge रहता है? कि नहीं सही था सब? ओके, हैंड स्टार्ट हर्टिंग। ये तो चलो जीएस पेपर जब लिखना होगा तो एसए वाला तो चलो एक ही पेपर हो रहा है, जिस दिन जीएस 1 होगा सुबह, शाम को जीएस 2 होगा, उस दिन असली पता चलेगा हाथ के। लॉट ऑफ पीपल यू नो देर एक्चुअली कैरिंग स्प्रेज टू द एग्जाम, कि पेपर देते हैं फिर स्प्रे लगा के क्रेप बैंडेज बांध के फिर सेकेंड पेपर। दैट इज समथिंग विच इज देयर। या ओके। अबाउट ओके। तो इसमें हिज क्वेश्चन इज कि द वर्ड ही हैज यूज्ड, आई विल यूज द सेम वर्ड, कि एक है ट्रेडिशनल कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ आस्किंग एन एसे, जैसे ऐसे पहले आते थे कुछ साल पहले तक, उसमें कुछ स्टैंडर्ड थीम्स थी। थीम्स क्या थी? एजुकेशन, हेल्थ, ठीक है, वुमेन, फिर एनवायरनमेंट, इस तरह से। ठीक है, ठीक है। हाँ क्या? मीडिया, अच्छा ठीक है चलो। अब जो एक टर्म यूज हो रही है फिलोसफिकल एसे, या आई वुड लाइक टू मेक इट लिटिल मोर सिंप्लीफाइड, इसे कोट बेस्ड एसे, कि कोई कोट है फेमस, ठीक है, उस पे एसे पूछ लिया। पहली चीज ये कि जरूरी नहीं है कि ये वाले एसे आने बंद हो जाएं, ठीक है। तो आप अगर सोचो कि मैं ये पार्ट बिल्कुल प्रिपेयर नहीं करूंगा, ऐसा नहीं हो सकता। दैट्स द फर्स्ट थिंग विद यूपीएससी, यू कैन नॉट बी श्योर व्हाट दे आर गोइंग टू डू। Okay, the year from when you know from 1 essays to 2 essay games, nobody knew that 2 essays can come. So this is an exam pattern where they don't give anything specifically in their syllabus, so वो कुछ भी कर सकते हैं। The other thing is, in these quote based essays also content यही लिखना है आपने, और कहाँ से स्टोरी आएगी, ठीक है। The idea is we have to take ourselves through a lot of these different quote based essays which have been asked, और इसमें I think सबसे अच्छा tool है your previous year's questions। क्वेश्चन अब समझ नहीं आ रहा है तो उसमें वही चीज है कि आप जो है 4 essays में से जो बेस्ट समझ आ रहा है वो आप करो। अब वो ज्यादा समझ कैसे आएंगे when you would have written a lot of these essays। Ideally before you sit in the exam 20 essays कम से कम जरूर लिखे होने चाहिए, ये मिनिमम है, मिनिमम, ठीक है। ज्यादा से ज्यादा तो अब इसकी इस तरह से भी इंडिकेशन है कि यू शुड राइट 20 बिफोर प्रीलिम्स एंड 20 आफ्टर प्रीलिम्स इन दैट टाइम, राइट। Of course that might be a little bit more extreme, but at least 20 is what is recommended for everyone, कि you try writing 20 essays, that's like a realistic thing। जैसे अब ये कैसे समझ में आएगा, इट्स लिटिल एब्स्ट्रैक्ट टू टेल समबडी ऑल्सो, कि मैं अब कैसे बता दूं कि कैसे आपके दिमाग में घुसेगा, ठीक है। ऐसे ही घुसेगा जब आपने किए होंगे प्रैक्टिस। एंड व्हेन यू आर प्रैक्टिसिंग, मेक श्योर यू आर प्रैक्टिसिंग ऑल टाइप्स ऑफ एसेस। आप ये सब थीम्स भी ले रहे हो, आप कोट बेस्ड थीम्स भी ले रहे हो, पर्सन रिलेटेड एसेस भी आते हैं, जैसे महात्मा गांधी पे एसे आ सकता है, आया भी है, ठीक है। सो यू हैव टू प्रैक्टिस, and when you practice a lot of these essays, you've given yourself that task that okay, I have to write, I have to try and write, then ultimately वो 4 में से कोई एक जरूर ऐसा होगा जो समझ भी आएगा और लिख भी सकते हो। कैसे समझना है या क्या अप्रोच करना है, क्या करना है, that we are going to take on as a live exercise here। My understanding is this, that essay जितना डिफिकल्ट या जितना मुश्किल अपीयर होता है, इट्स नॉट रियली दैट big of a task. Sometimes, you know, for some things there is a greater hawa attached to it than the real task. Because all of you are graduates, right? ठीक है, ओके. सो आपने ऐसे तो जरूर लिखा कभी ना कभी, स्कूल में, कॉलेज में स्पेसिफिकली जो आंसर होते हैं वो भी ऐसे ही होते हैं, क्योंकि वो होता है ना कि लंबा आंसर लिखो, और लंबा, जितना लंबा उतने मार्क्स, है ना. तो you've all done this exercise. The only thing is कि if you'll practice it तो वो confidence आ जाएगा, question समझने में भी, build up करने में भी. So we'll do that step by step. We'll try and understand one topic. I've taken the topic from this year's essay paper only. So this is section A. I'll read out the topics first. So the first topic is forest precedes civilization and deserts follows them. So अब आप इसको exactly environment का ऐसे भी नहीं बोल सकते, because it's not just environment, it is environment, a bit of history. तो इसको deconstruct करके फिर समझ में आएगा. ये अब quote based भी नहीं है. Next one is empires of the future will be empires of the mind. अब this can be considered to be an article of science, maybe some aspect of science, some aspect of geopolitics, IR, a lot of those dimensions which you already know about, but इसमें अप्लाई करना है जो वही स्किल है, उसी के लिए प्रैक्टिस चाहिए हमें. Then there is no path to happiness. Happiness is the path. This is the essay which we will be writing today. And the last one is the doubter is a true man of science. Okay. This essay we have selected, and ये जो essay है ये actually Vision IAS की test series में भी पूछा था. ठीक है, ये टेस्ट सीरीज का स्निपेट है. एंड दिस इज इट. देयर इज नो पाथ टू हैप्पीनेस, हैप्पीनेस इज अ पाथ. सो ये 2022 की टेस्ट सीरीज का क्वेश्चन है. सो दैट्स व्हाई आई हैव बीन एबल टू एक्सट्रैक्ट अ लॉट ऑफ टॉपर्स कॉपीज ऑल्सो. So not only do we have this essay, we also have ideas from what people have written on this topic. One person जिसकी copy we will be using, he is गौतम विवेकानंदा. तो 22 वाला जो एग्जाम था, मतलब जिसका 23 में रिजल्ट आया, उसमें he had 149 marks in essay. So he's done like really well, and it was his suggestion when I spoke to him कि 40 essays लिखने चाहिए. Of course उसने नहीं लिखे, but that's what I always say everywhere कि बाद में जब आप टॉपर बन जाओ तो आप कुछ भी बोल सकते हो, but I think realistic number यही है कि कम से कम 20 ट्राई करना है. ठीक है, अब हम इसको करेंगे कैसे, ये टॉपिक है. All of you should have your pens and papers. पहला क्वेश्चन जो ये है, whenever you read a topic, we'll go about it कि ये टॉपिक है. ठीक है, अब यहाँ पे आपके पास कोई चॉइस नहीं है, आपको चूज नहीं करना है, आपको यही लिखना है. ठीक है, पहले टॉपिक लिखो. There is no path to happiness. Happiness is the path. Whenever we read any topic, सबसे पहली चीज, फर्स्ट से पहला एक्सरसाइज ये है that you will identify what are the keywords in this topic. So tell me what are the main words, what are the keywords of this topic. हैप्पीनेस है एक, और पाथ. ठीक है, ये दो वर्ड्स हैं. अब आपका जो थॉट प्रोसेस रहेगा व्हेन यू थिंक अबाउट दिस टॉपिक और एनीथिंग ऑन दिस टॉपिक इज यू हैव टू मेक श्योर यू थिंक अबाउट बोथ दीज टर्म्स. दिस इज वन वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट लेसन व्हेन यू थिंक अबाउट राइटिंग एन एसे, बिकॉज व्हाट हैपेंस इज एसेज हैव लॉन्ग लाइन्स. जैसे कि एक वो डेजर्ट वाला क्वेश्चन था, ये जैसे उसके लिए सिंप्लीफाई करके इफ आई टेल यू कि एक क्वेश्चन है विच इज टॉकिंग अबाउट डिफॉरेस्टेशन एंड, नहीं डिफॉरेस्टेशन छोड़ो, डिस्ट्रक्शन एंड डेवलपमेंट, ऐसा एक टॉपिक है कि डिस्ट्रक्शन फॉलोज डेवलपमेंट या डेवलपमेंट कैन नॉट हैपन विदाउट डिस्ट्रक्शन, ऐसे वाला कुछ टॉपिक है. what happens is when people start exploring the idea, a lot of times they are either thinking only about development or they are thinking only about destruction. That is when that idea जो यूपीएससी ने मेंशन किया कि एग्जैक्ट एक्सप्रेशन चाहिए, टू द पॉइंट चाहिए, स्टिकिंग टू द टॉपिक चाहिए, वो मिस हो जाता है. इसमें भी सिर्फ हैप्पीनेस की अगर बात हो तो वो इनकम्प्लीट रहेगा. इट हैज टू बी हैप्पीनेस and the idea of it being a path or it is the path, that has to go in hand. Now, first thing is, what does this statement mean? If you just try to understand this, anything which you can understand from this statement, iska kya matlab? In your language, in your words, whatever. Okay, so journey is important. तो जर्नी एंड डेस्टिनेशन का डिस्कशन है. एनीथिंग एल्स? ओके, इट्स टॉकिंग अबाउट लाइफ, मीनिंग ऑफ लाइफ, समथिंग लाइक दैट. या, सॉरी, you live in the present. Okay, it's a very good idea. Living in the present, being present, gratefulness, gratitude. All right. So if I have to just explain, तो दो parts हैं. There is no path to happiness. Happiness is the path. So इसमें बात यही है कि we are not going anywhere where we will achieve happiness. We have to think of happiness as that journey itself. या living in the present वाला. Every day we have to be happy. We cannot really think कि वहां पहुंचेंगे या वो डेस्टिनेशन है कि देन वी विल बी हैप्पी, बिकॉज आफ्टर दैट व्हाट यू फील. लाइक यू नो, अभिनव बिंद्रा रिसेंटली मेंशन कि मुझे गोल्ड मेडल चाहिए था, बहुत साल तैयारी की, गोल्ड मेडल मिल गया, डिप्रेस हो गया. क्यों? अब तो है ही नहीं कुछ लाइफ में करने को. सो दैट्स व्हाट दिस इज ट्राइंग टू टॉक अबाउट, दैट यू कैनॉट थिंक ऑफ हैप्पीनेस एज अ डेस्टिनेशन. There is no way in which you can reach happiness. कोई ऐसा रास्ता नहीं है, कोई ऐसी चीज नहीं है. But the path itself, the process itself, and whatever you are doing, that is what is happiness. अब ये theme है. Keywords हमने समझ लिए, statement भी समझ ली. Next thing which we have to think about is, why is this question asked? What is the relevance of this idea in present day world? हम अब एसे का क्वेश्चन है, ठीक है, आपसे पूछा गया कि इस पे अब 1000 वर्ड्स लिखने. क्यों? कुछ तो इसका सिग्निफिकेंस होगा, ठीक है. वाई इन द सेंस ऑफ द प्रेजेंट डे वर्ल्ड, व्हाट इज द इंपॉर्टेंस ऑफ दिस? मेंटल हेल्थ का इशू हो रहा है कि हम खुश हो ही नहीं रहे किसी भी चीज से. ओके, ओके. तो हैप्पीनेस दुनिया में यूनिफॉर्मली नहीं मिल रही है, कहीं पे लोग हैप्पी हैं, कहीं पे नहीं है. ओके, यूरोपियन कंट्रीज आर हैप्पी, वी आर नॉट हैप्पी. दैट इज राइट. देयर इज नो अपॉर्चुनिटी. खुश कैसे होंगे? ओके, हाँ, वर्क लाइफ बैलेंस नहीं है, ठीक है. सो वी आर स्ट्रगलिंग विद working in a way and managing in our life in our way. Ultimate goal सबका to be happy है, पर वो हमें समझ ही नहीं आ रहा कि रास्ता कौन सा है, कैसे हम happy होंगे. That's the point. So that is what makes this very very relevant as an issue. ठीक है. So पहले, सबसे पहले keywords which you will think about कि हाँ इसमें keywords क्या हैं. Then you connect them and try to just simply understand the meaning of this line of the statement. Third thing is you think of its relevance कि ये relevant क्यों है, ठीक है. Now we are going to formally start doing an exercise जिसको बोलते हैं brainstorming. So I don't like to go into very technical terms and jargons, but simply saying कि essay लिखने से पहले हम थोड़ा सोचेंगे कि लिखना क्या है यहाँ पे, because this is going to be a long descriptive thing, so you will need an idea before you write. Essay is not supposed to be written right away. You need to think about what all things you will write, because in a shorter answer maybe कि आपको पता है कि यही चीजें लिखनी है. इसमें ऐसा नहीं कि आपने ये essay पहले लिखा है कभी, या आपने ये टॉपिक डायरेक्टली कभी पढ़ा होगा. आपको बनाना है, तो बनाने के लिए बनाने वाला मेहनत करनी पड़ेगी. ठीक है, अब वो हम कैसे करेंगे? I'll suggest an idea which I use and which I feel especially in the beginning is very important, that before we can concentrate to the essay theme, आपको 2 words दिए हैं, ये happiness और path to happiness. ठीक है, ये theme है. Now on a piece of paper take half a sheet, और आप पूरे पेपर पे कहीं भी जो भी आपको पॉइंट याद आ रहा है, ठीक है, I'll give you 10 minutes to do this, but whatever you can think, कोई भी चीज, money makes people happy, gratitude makes people happy, ice cream makes me happy, आपको जो कुछ भी सूझ रहा है, जो भी कुछ रैंडम, इट माइट नॉट हैव एनी मीनिंग, इट माइट हैव सम मीनिंग, कोई कोट है, किसी की स्टोरी है, कोई सीरियल है, कोई शो है, पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस, यूपीएससी, जो मर्जी, जो दिमाग में आ रहा है लिखो. ओनली टिप इज जस्ट ट्राई दिस आउट. लाइन में मत लिखना, रैंडम लिखना, कुछ यहाँ लिख दिया, कुछ यहाँ लिख दिया. वी वॉन्ट टू स्टैगर योर थॉट्स फर्स्ट, उसके बाद हम अरेंज करेंगे नेक्स्ट स्टेप में. ठीक है, इधर उधर फैला के लिखो. सो इट्स 2:52. टेक 10 minutes, ओके, एंड डू दिस एक्सरसाइज. और 10 नहीं, 52 है ना, तो हम 3 बजे पूरा इसको डिस्कस करेंगे. Okay, so I've specifically chosen this topic because I think everybody will have at least something about it. This doesn't require any specialized knowledge or data or information, but we all know something about this idea. So, can you tell me some things which you've written? Yeah, बोल के. Okay, okay. So, अभी इस वक्त exercise है 1 word or 2 words which we are linking into it. So, I'll take the word enjoying from you. ठीक है, enjoying work, enjoying every day. और बताओ. Okay, so I'll take this. ठीक है. So, ये happiness का idea subjective है. That's one concept. What else? Okay, okay, okay. So can you tell me any one of those thoughts? Okay, okay. In the moment. ठीक है, और बताओ. Okay.
Role they are performing in their life, etc.
Okay. Okay, so individuality, subjectivity, it depends on the individual, what is happiness to that person. Okay.
a movie called like Dear Zindagi or Zindagi Gulzar or Life of Beautiful. And life is short, enjoy the fullest, make every moment count,
Okay.
and spread motivation and make yourself positive all the time.
Okay, positive attitude.
Yeah,
ठीक है.
friends, family, these are also source of happiness.
Okay, friends, family, और या फिर एक general terms, what is the source of happiness?
Yeah,
Which can be different for different people.
positivity.
Okay.
I wrote one story a little about my college, like one of the memory I can recall from my past is not the academic career, but the memory I shared with my friends. That
Okay.
is the journey, that is the
Okay.
path I
तो
can
ये आप
recall.
इसको substantiate कर सकते हो through some positivity of memories. All right.
And since we are mortal, and so people can only remember through the memory. So if we will be happy and positive throughout the light, the people will be remember forever.
Okay.
So
Okay.
this is the topic, and then we can
Okay.
substantiate.
Okay. Okay. और बताओ. It can be real or fake. Okay. ये एक idea हो सकता है explore करने को कि are we really happy? Or are we made to believe we are happy? All right. What else?
Ma'am, it can bring moral, ethical practices in our life.
Okay. So being happy or what makes us happy, it should be ethical. ऐसा कुछ? Yeah. Okay. Okay. What else? Satisfaction. It's a very good word here. Happiness से linked जो होगा. ठीक है. Okay. Happiness एक purpose हो सकता है या फिर towards a purpose. Somebody working towards a purpose, like you are working towards becoming civil servants. जी. Money and love, of course. सबसे ज़रूरी चीज़ें बता नहीं रहे हो आप. Yes. Okay. Okay. Success. Or yeah. Health, yes. Being healthy. Peace, yes. इसको आप beyond individual level पे जाके सोचोगे तो you can think of things like this. Okay, peace. Equality. You can write preamble, okay. Link कर सकते हो तो ज़रूर लिख लेना. हाँ. Okay, okay. So happiness के साथ an angle of maybe unhappiness. That what is equated with unhappiness or being okay. Okay. Money, objects, yes. iPhone, yes. Commodification of happiness. Hmm. 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 Comparison with others. It's biggest problem of
Ma'am, different source of happiness or different path of happiness
Okay.
at different stages of life. Like for a child, it's different. For an adult, for a elderly, it will be
okay.
different.
Okay. So stages of life and with happiness, and what was the other thing? Sources of happiness. Okay. हाँ, so ये है इसमें sources of happiness or path towards this, something like that. Competition without cooperation. Okay, comparison, no cooperation. I'll write in this. Exploration. Okay. So यही वाला कि path नहीं, but उसको ढूंढना, explore करना, journey, exploring, achievement, success कहीं पे था. और बताओ. Okay, okay, philosophy. Charvak's philosophy, if you know, that's so amazing. उधार ले घी खा. So it's the ultimate philosophy of enjoyment, where he says कि You have to enjoy, even if you have to beg, borrow, steal, do that, but enjoy. ठीक है? Okay, so you can explore different philosophies. Religion can also be a source of happiness or connection to religion or religious ideas. Okay, so we also have ways in which we are measuring happiness. ठीक है? तो ग्लोबल हैप्पीनेस इंडेक्स जिसमें इंडिया बहुत बैडली परफॉर्म करता है. फेस्टिवल्स, ओके, दैट्स व्हेन यू एसोसिएट थिंग्स विद. अब ये टर्म्स भी आप ढूंढो, जॉय, सेलिब्रेशन, ठीक है ना. फूड, यस, डेली रूटीन में देयर इज ओनली वन सोर्स ऑफ हैप्पीनेस, फूड एंड जोमैटो. ट्रैवलिंग, ओके. Cinema, art, culture, painting, okay, all of that. Passion, having a hobby, okay, helping others, thankfulness, helpfulness, ग्रैटिट्यूड, है ना. ठीक है, और कुछ? ओके, ओके, so we need to be happy daily, and that doesn't work well if it is a ultimate destination. So that, because that would mean कि जब तक destination नहीं मिलेगी हम खुश नहीं हो सकते, and sometimes you might not find the destination. So ठीक है, कोई भी जो भी टॉपिक आता है उसके जो भी टर्म्स होते हैं, when we start thinking, we'll think on a very wide scale. ठीक है, so it's important that we note all of that also down. ठीक है, इससे आपकी बेस वाइड हो रहा है, आपके पास एग्जाम्पल ज्यादा आ रहे हैं. ठीक है, now we have so many ideas, but the next thing is कि इसको अब हम डालेंगे कैसे. उसके लिए you have to think like a GS paper. In general studies, you have questions for which you write 1 paragraph answers. Essay, maybe that's what we will ultimately attempt to do. All these ideas have to be organized in the form of a few questions. अब हमें बनाने हैं questions. That is the next task. तो you are not going to mention any answers या any content which you want to write, but अब आपको नेक्स्ट एक्सरसाइज में क्या करना है. You know the question, right? There is no path to happiness. Happiness is a path. Think of what all dimensions or what all questions you want to answer. आपका जो essay पड़ेगा उसको कुछ answers मिलने चाहिए. अब questions किस टाइप के हो सकते हैं? Just for the incidents, एक तो यही है, is happiness the path or is happiness the destination? What is happiness? Why is it important? Why is it needed? How do you achieve it? इस तरह के बहुत सारे questions बन सकते हैं. ठीक है, तो अब आप questions बनाओगे. Don't think of the flow of the essay or the sequence. हम उसको arrange बाद में करेंगे. ठीक है, पहली चीज अब ये करनी है, ये आइडियाज हो गए कि मेरे को चलो बहुत सारे आइडियाज आ गए अबाउट हैप्पीनेस, पाथ, डेस्टिनेशन, एग्जांपल्स भी आ गए, सब कुछ आ गया, वो मैंने एक जगह लिख लिया. नाउ आई विल मेक सम क्वेश्चंस, 5, 6, 7 जितने भी क्वेश्चंस आपसे बन रहे हैं. थीम ये है, देयर इज नो पाथ टू हैप्पीनेस, हैप्पीनेस इज द पाथ. यू हैव टू एक्सप्लेन दिस, बट as smaller parts, smaller ideas will be discussed. So for that you have to first write questions. Ki what questions will you be answering? Try and include both these terms in your questions. Sub questions में हो सकता है happiness और path दोनों ना है. Like maybe if you are trying to think of कि okay, why is happiness important? If that's one of your questions, तो उसमें path नहीं आएगा, पर maximum number of your questions should have both these terms. ठीक है, इस तरह से कुछ questions बनाने की कोशिश करो. ठीक है, I'll give you, so it is 3:12. So I'll give you 13 minutes to do it. Okay? Try and think of questions which you will answer in this essay. Then we will discuss the questions. Okay, if you've done the exercise, now try and arrange your questions. जितने भी question लिखे हैं, we'll discuss the questions, but try and give them 1, 2, 3 कि कौन सा question पहले आना चाहिए, कौन सा बाद में आना चाहिए, like that. Just take a minute to do that. Okay. So tell me what all questions are going to be answered in this essay. Yeah. What is happiness? Okay, we'll write one by one. ठीक. What is happiness? What is the meaning of happiness? All right, that can be one thing. और कुछ? What? Okay. So why there is no path to happiness? जी. Okay. Does happiness make life easier? Easier or life's path easier? Yeah. Why happiness? Okay. Why happiness is the ultimate goal or is seen as a ultimate goal? ठीक है. क्वेश्चन मार्क कहाँ लगाना है इसमें? क्वेश्चन बताओ. इसमें ना हैप्पीनेस है ना पाथ है, इसमें से दोनों में से कोई एक वर्ड घुसा के फिर क्वेश्चन बताओ. अच्छा अच्छा. या ओके. प्रॉब्लम्स of seeking happiness as an end. As an end. How to be happy, okay. How to achieve happiness. ठीक. How to become happy, right? Basically, so this can come somewhere in this, how to achieve happiness, right? All your yoga and meditation, all of that. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Can happiness be measured? Okay, measured or compared? ठीक है, ओके, क्या, हाँ फिर आगे ये टॉपिक है, देयर इज नो पाथ टू हैप्पीनेस, इसमें कनेक्ट करो, फिर देन आई विल टेक द पॉइंट. या
lead to happiness.
okay, so what if the path doesn't lead to happiness?
Ma'am, is happiness is a universal virtue for me. For example, that can every creature of this earth can be happy at a single moment.
Okay, is happiness universal? ठीक है, or a universal need, can put it like that. या चलो open ended छोड़ते जी. Why people feel sad after losing their loved ones? और reframe करो, question में happy word चाहिए
Ma'am,
मुझे.
what are the challenges to happiness and how we can tackle it?
Okay, challenges to happiness. Okay. Okay. And how we can solve this will somewhere come in how to achieve happiness.
Ma'am, what are the different aspects affect happiness?
Okay.
Like
What affects
where social
happiness?
life-
Challenges of happiness. ठीक है. Yeah.
Ma'am, why finding of happiness through material world?
Okay. Finding why?
Finding of happiness through material world
Okay. Why we find
rather than self.
happiness through material world. Yeah.
Ma'am, is happiness the ultimate goal to achieve, or it is the part of the process?
Okay, so this is more or less the question only, but okay, ये है ना एक कुछ ऐसे वाला, is happiness the ultimate goal? And what was your second part?
Is it the part of the process?
Or is it the path of the process? ठीक है इसमें ही, or is it the process? और जी एक मिनट.
Ma'am, is it possible that
happiness? Does happiness end? Okay. Challenges to happiness. Does it end? All right. Does happiness end? Okay. जी बोलिए सर. How to get happiness? By वाला आंसर आप कुछ भी लिख सकते हो, but again I think this will come in how to achieve happiness. इसमें चलो by giving happiness.
Ma'am, how
जी.
can government contribute to happiness and how can happiness contribute to our economy?
Okay, happiness and economy and happiness and government. ठीक है, the dimension will have to fit in somewhere here, right? ये broader questions हैं, right? अब of course we don't have to answer all these questions. ठीक है, this will be too elaborate. So out of all these questions, we pick up the questions which connect us to the main theme. How you keep your essay relevant or how you keep your content relevant is if you make sure that you are talking about this. Okay, if you are talking about the dimension of happiness as a path or happiness is the path. So wherever we are linking it to something, why is there no path to happiness? Okay. इसको एक इस तरह से भी आप लिख सकते हो. Is there a path to happiness? It can go in that dimension. It means the same thing. Does happiness make life easier? Why happiness is the ultimate goal. तो ये इसी में क्लब करेंगे हम, फिर बाद में इसको असेस करेंगे. Easier is that is why it is the ultimate goal. Problems of seeking happiness as an end. ठीक है. Is there a path to happiness and what are the problems in that concept? ठीक है. तो ये idea again is slightly more linked to the topic which we are trying to do. How to achieve happiness? Okay. ठीक है. By giving happiness or any such answer you can have, by government, by economy, by money, जो भी है वो उसमें elaboration है, पर question यही है, how to achieve happiness. Can happiness be measured, compared? Okay. What if the path doesn't lead to happiness? All right. Is happiness a universal concept? Challenges of happiness. इसको अब हम इसी में थोड़ा सा और स्ट्रीमलाइन करेंगे into 5 or 6 questions which will make up this essay. So let's try and do that. Dimensions which will definitely arise here is, of course, what is happiness? ठीक है. Then how to achieve happiness? When you think about how to achieve happiness, then you have to bring in both the dimensions. Both dimensions क्या है? Happiness through end goals. तो इसमें ये होगा, can happiness be linked to a path, which means can it be linked to a goal? तो इसमें जितने भी ये गोल्स वाली चीज हैं, अदर्स को हेल्प करना या कोई सक्सेस वाला आइडिया, मनी वाला आइडिया, ये सब गोल्स हैं. सो दिस इज द आइडिया विच वी हैव टू अल्टीमेटली नेगेट इन दिस आर्टिकल. ठीक है, कि लिंक्ड नहीं कर सकता. क्यों लिंक नहीं कर सकता? क्योंकि यहां पे एक क्वेश्चन था, प्रॉब्लम्स ऑफ लिंकिंग दिस. Can it be linked? And followed with this is, what are the problems of taking happiness as a path? Sorry, taking happiness as a, I have to fit in. What are the problems of taking the path to happiness? And इसके बाद एक और dimension, how is happiness the path and how can you achieve that? ये आप, हाँ, why is it, why तो आप इसी में कर लोगे, इसको आप ये भी लिख सकते हो इसी क्वेश्चन को. Why is it a path? When you are saying it is, there is no path, then you have to, you can also think of why is, क्या बोला था आपने?
the same line, ma'am.
How is happiness a path? Why is it going to be the path?
Yeah.
Why is happiness a path? The same thing.
No, the why the path is the happiness. No, the path.
Why? Okay.
Why the path is the happiness.
Okay, why path is the happiness? इसके अंदर यही सारे आइडियाज आएंगे, बट इफ यू ट्राई एंड कीप बोथ दी टर्म्स टुगेदर, थोड़ा सा और द कंटेंट विल स्टे विद इन द आइडिया ऑफ द क्वेश्चन. सो सबसे पहले हैप्पीनेस क्या है, सेकेंड पॉइंट अचीव कैसे करना है. ठीक है, अचीव करने के दो अब तरीके हैं. वन इज दैट देर इज a path to happiness, that's one idea. तो paths क्या क्या हो सकते हैं? Money, materialism, helping others, whatever it is. And what is the problem with this approach? Next idea ये होगा. What are the problems with having happiness or taking a path towards happiness, taking a path towards an end goal? उसके बाद जब आपने बता दिया प्रॉब्लमैटिक है, प्रॉब्लमैटिक क्यों है? क्योंकि फुलफिलिंग नहीं होगा. उसके बाद एक ये क्वेश्चन था, व्हाट इफ यू डोंट अचीव व्हाट यू आर सीकिंग टू अचीव. सो ऑल दोज थिंग्स सजेस्टेड, देन यू से इट इज द पाथ इटसेल्फ. ठीक है, यही पाथ है. दिस इज व्हाट हैज टू हैपन एवरी डे थ्रू ग्रैटिट्यूड, थ्रू ऑल द अदर थिंग्स, थैंकफुलनेस, हेल्पफुलनेस, contentment, gratitude, and all the stories which you can connect with it. That has to be another, basically what you are going to write. Broader idea ये है. इसमें अब further आप और angles explore कर सकते हो. एक और बड़ा interesting angle हो सकता है, can't it be both? Think about this, right? I'm into UPSC preparation, I'm enjoying the preparation, but that end goal is also important to me. ठीक है ना? So ये भी एक dimension हो सकता है, but इस वक्त keeping it simple. So you have what is happiness, how to achieve it. अचीवमेंट के लिए से यू डोंट हैव टू रियली थिंक ऑफ इस कि आप अपने ही आइडिया बता रहे हो, अपना ही डिस्क्रिप्शन दे रहे हो. यू कैन ऑल्सो थिंक अबाउट दिस इन अ वे दैट देर आर मेनी वेज. इसमें इट कैन बी अदर पीपल्स ओपिनियन ऑल्सो. दैट यूनिवर्सली देर कैन बी मेनी आइडियाज अराउंड द वर्ल्ड. अलग अलग आइडियाज हो सकते हैं, सोशल लीडर्स के अलग आइडियाज हो सकते हैं, रिलीजन के अलग आइडियाज हो सकते हैं, डिफरेंट कंट्रीज में अलग आइडियाज हो सकते हैं. जैसे अब कोरिया की बात हो रही थी कि कंज्यूमरिज्म नहीं है. सो देर आर डिफरेंट आइडियाज इन द वर्ल्ड. यू डिस्कस दैट कि फॉर हैप्पीनेस एंड व्हाट इज द प्रॉब्लम विद दीज अप्रोचेज, या क्या इसमें से सही है, क्या इसमें से गलत है. उसको फिर दो चीजों में डिवाइड करना है. One where there is an end goal, second where end goal is not working or there are problems with it. ये एक broadly 4-5 aspects होंगे. ठीक है, अब हम क्या करेंगे, अब हम actually try करेंगे essay लिखना. ठीक है, that's the next thing. Yeah.
Both. So
Yeah.
are we trying to connect it with development, that if we are thinking of happiness as an end, then only we'll be able to develop?
So you can connect it to anything if you want, or you can even negate this argument by placing it.
But once we are trying to say that consumerism is not good.
Not just consumerism. It can be anything. Like maybe, getting fit is my goal. So every day I reach closer to my goal, I'm being happy. आप वो एग्जाम्पल से कैसे सब्सटैंशिएट करोगे, दैट इज व्हाट इज इंपॉर्टेंट हियर. ठीक है ना? इट्स नॉट जस्ट कंज्यूमरिज्म. कंज्यूमरिज्म भी हो सकता है, बट अगेन उसमें फिर ये एंगल्स लिखने की ये सब्जेक्टिव होगा. बट दिस आइडिया ऑफ वेटिंग टू बी हैप्पी, दैट माइट नॉट वर्क. इफ यू आर हैप्पी इन द प्रोसेस एंड यू वांट टू रीच एन एंड गोल, देन दैट माइट स्टिल वर्क. इस तरह से इसको एग्जाम्पलीफाई करना पड़ेगा. ठीक है ना? आई वॉन्ट टू हैव 1 crore rupees one day, so every 1000 rupees I earn, it makes me happy. ठीक है? If I think कि I will only be happy the day I have 1 crore, that might never happen. Okay, so if I'm happy every day, then it works for me. ऐसे वाला, इस तरह से भी आप सोच सकते हो. Again, see, ये सब ideas आपके अपने हो सकते हैं, आपके angles और भी हो सकते हैं. The only point which I want to make in this is, all the questions which you come across, they should in a way be talking about both the things, path and happiness, so that we don't deviate from the theme of the topic. That is the only thing. जैसे कि you know, अब why find the happiness through material world, तो ये material world का specific ना होकर again generic idea हो सकता है, end goal वाला. आपको बस उसको लिखना उस तरीके से. ये सारे ideas absolutely valid, absolutely relevant है. सिर्फ अगर आप क्वेश्चन दोनों टर्म्स को लिंक करके बनाओगे तो whatever you will be writing, it will be more around that point, जो क्वेश्चन का थीम है. ठीक है, ओके. लिखने का पैटर्न, लिखने का तरीका, that is exactly like you will write any other answer. There will be an introduction. This now has to be very, very attractive. This has to be very, very interesting. There are a lot of people who use different approaches. Like we were talking in the beginning, कि आप कोई सी story से लिख सकते हो, आप किसी कोट से लिख सकते हो, बुक से लिख सकते हो, करंट अफेयर से लिख सकते हो, आपको ग्लोबल हैप्पीनेस इंडेक्स पता है, आप उससे लिख सकते हो. Anything can be there, but it has to be something a little bit more impressive than just starting to write about like a definition of happiness or something like that. तो यहाँ पे कुछ आपको standard चीजें prepare करनी पड़ेंगी. Through your series of going through different essay topics, you'll have to learn some of the quotes, some standard quotes, some poems of you know, some people who are very commonly used, like Robert Frost or something like that. इसका एक और बहुत अच्छा तरीका है to prepare करने का कि toppers की copies पढ़ो. ठीक है, there are a lot of toppers copies which are available. Vision IAS के website पे भी they are available. So in that, what you can do as an exercise is that you can read them. And of course, वो ऐसे तो आपको आएगा नहीं, पर आपको कोड्स किस तरह के यूज करने हैं या कुछ कोड्स itself आपको यूजेबल जो है मिल जाएंगे. इंट्रोडक्शन के बाद बॉडी होगी, जिसमें जो मेन आपके जो आपने क्वेश्चंस बनाए वो क्वेश्चंस आंसर करने, क्वेश्चंस अटेम्प्ट करने, एंड देन यू विल एंड इट. देयर विल बी अ conclusion, there will be a closing remark, and this whole thing should be connected. There should be a flow of the whole sequence of your ideas. वो flow उसी से बनेगा if you know कि आप उसी चीज की बात कर रहे हो and you're not digressing from the topic. So the first thing which we'll try is we'll write an introduction for this topic. Topic यही है कि you're trying to understand how to achieve happiness. Is it an end goal or is it a journey? Right? What you can do here, what you can try is, to make it a little creative, is maybe you can look up some quotes. I'm sure you all have your cell phones and your liberty of using this. Just try and think, okay? We'll take 7-8 minutes, write an introduction. इसमें कोई word limit की limitation नहीं है. आपको story, quote, example, जिस भी चीज़ से start करना है, just start and write. Then we'll discuss the introduction. We'll show you some introductions also. So just do that. So I'll give you 7 minutes to write this. So try karo kuch likhna.
Does the vast syllabus of general studies for the UPSC prelims overwhelm you to initiate your preparation for the civil services examination? Is your apprehension and self-doubt coming in the way of your success in joining the civil services? Comprehend your preparation for UPSC Prelims 2025 with the fast-track course targeting general studies with innovative curriculum, revision and mentorship. Starting from 19th November at 1 p.m., the course offers coverage of UPSC GS prelims subjects, dedicated mentorship support and guidance for performance maximization, access to PT 365 classes for current affairs preparation, sectional mini tests for regular assessment and performance, personalized student portal to access study material, access to live and online classes. Enroll today and make prelims your stepping stone to proceed to the UPSC mains.
There is no need for actually writing the word introduction. Okay. आप लिखना शुरू करो बस. Introduction, conclusion, these words are not needed to be described. Yes. Yes, you can use the word conclusion while writing, but एक heading बना के लिखने की जरूरत नहीं है. A lot of people actually use the same thing, same idea जो introduction में use किया, the same idea in the conclusion, like that story described. ठीक है.
Double quotes in case ma'am that.
You can use any number of quotes in this essay.
If we start any essay, so we can quote like this is related to happiness and path. If I'm starting with one, just I'm confused with like life is short, live the fullest. Okay, तो हम हर चीज़ को enjoy करें. या तो अगर हम दूसरा ऐड कर सकते हैं कि as said by one famous actor in the movie आनंद, like बाबू मोशाय, एक ऐसे इंग्लिश में लिख सकते हैं कि लाइफ.
हाँ, आप अगर इंग्लिश में अगर आप कुछ हिंदी में लिख रहे हो, ठीक है, आपको उसको इंग्लिश में लिखना पड़ेगा ट्रांसलेट करके.
हाँ, तो दैट इज लाइक कि जिंदगी लंबी नहीं बड़ी होनी चाहिए. दैट मींस लाइफ शुड बी ग्रेट नॉट लॉन्ग. सो ऐसे करके
यू कैन ऑल्सो राइट. देयर आर लॉट ऑफ टॉपर्स हु हैव एक्चुअली रिटन इन द देवनागरी स्क्रिप्ट ऑल्सो व्हेन दे आर राइटिंग समथिंग इन संस्कृत और अ श्लोक और समथिंग इफ दे आर यूजिंग. आप वो लिख सकते हो, पर उसका ब्रैकेट में पूरा इंग्लिश ट्रांसलेशन चाहिए.
हाँ,
हाँ,
जो हिंदी में लिखेंगे वो नॉर्मल हिंदी में लिखेंगे या फिर HINDI लिखेंगे या फिर हिंदी,
वो आपके ऊपर है. both are allowed.
Okay मैम.
But the only important point is उसका ट्रांसलेशन चाहिए. ठीक है. Read toppers copies. That is one very, very important exercise which you have to do, especially when you are beginning. How many of you are attempting your first essay today? Okay, right? अब ये आगे चल के और डेवलप करने के लिए और प्रैक्टिस करने के लिए read more essays. That will give you a lot more clarity than any other description which you come across. ठीक है ना? Okay. These are a few images of some toppers and their brainstorming. ये इसी essay का brainstorming किया हुआ है through a lot of different ideas and terms. Again, see, everybody has their own style. You might not need to write so much, but this is just to give you an appearance that the person has written so much, that means he would have spent a good 20 minutes at least on doing this exercise. ठीक है, तो ये एक बहुत important aspect है of writing the essay which has to be done. So this is another topper's copy. So she's written a little less, but still she's got down a lot of idea of different points. What is happiness? Why no path? Happiness equal to path. 3 dimensions में describe किया, and then you write about the essay. ठीक है. Now anybody would like to share what introduction they've written? so that we can get some ideas. नहीं सीक्रेट है, मैं दिखाती हूँ. चलो अभी हम इसी पॉइंट पे डिस्कस कर रहे हैं, बट what I want to recommend is all of you please go back home and make sure you complete this essay, and then you can look for Gautam Vivekananda, telling you the name, his copy on this essay. वो मिल जाएगा आपको, ये उसी का essay. So ये एक idea है, ठीक है. This is an introduction which is a quote-based introduction. So you used a standard quote of Robert Frost, which says, 2 roads diverged in wood, and I took the one less traveled, and that has made all the difference. Okay. So ये तो road पे है, इसको कहीं भी apply कर सकते हैं. But just writing the quote is not enough. He'll have to come back and connect it to the topic. So उसने connect क्या किया है? These wonderful lines by Robert Frost pose a peculiar question. Is the road less traveled the road to happiness? ठीक है. He's just exploring an idea that what is the way to reach happiness. Okay, this is his creative element which you can think of. Of course, इसको आगे explain करना पड़ेगा, connect करना पड़ेगा through the rest of the essay, but just as an idea. एक और idea देती हूँ इसमें. ये देखो, this is another copy. In this, a book has been mentioned. Okay, see again, book थी या quote थी, वो happiness पे नहीं है. But it's been linked to happiness and it's being used in that way. So this is a book, Top 10 Regrets of the Dying. The most common regret was working too hard to make money, not spending enough time with family. People often earn money hoping that once they have enough money, they will spend time with their family and they will be happy. So, इसमें वो जो सारे आइडियाज आपने एक्सप्लोर किए हैं, मनी, फैमिली, हैप्पीनेस, एंड देन he has mentioned happiness for them was an end goal and hard work is the path to that happiness. ठीक है. So ideas as such कोई specific ideas नहीं है. ऐसा नहीं है कि like we were talking in the beginning कि how do we understand that topic? How do we have content to write in that particular topic? So इसमें कुछ भी specific नहीं है. But if you understand the theme, you understand the relevance of the theme, you'll be able to connect it to the ideas which already you know. Okay. This itself can be used in so many places, wherever life is being discussed. एक और example देती हूँ. एक book का हो गया, एक quote का हो गया, अब ये आ गया story वाला या history का example. So happiness, whenever it is discussed, is one person whose story is very important, that is Gautam Buddha. Okay, so a young boy called Siddharth left the worldly pleasures of the palace in search of happy life. Okay, and then he describes the whole story. He saw 4 sights: old man, poor man, sick man, and a dead man. And he realized that there is no end goal of happiness. Then he went on, he achieved enlightenedness, which is the ultimate stage of bliss or journey. And फिर आगे और explore किए. This essay was also concluded with this same story. Buddha and his interpretation of happiness. ठीक है. You will also get there on this stage of putting in things like that, but for that you have to practice. Irrespective of what stage you are at in your preparation of general studies, please start reading essays and try and attempt a few essays also in this sense. Even if you cannot sit and write the whole essay because you feel you don't have sufficient content as of now, try and at least do that element of brainstorming. कि आपको इस topic पे क्या क्या ideas आ रहे हैं और क्या questions बन सकते हैं. That is the very first step. The more number of essays, the more number of topics you do that with, then you will start getting that confidence of sitting and writing answers also. Okay? So we'll have Prateek now. He is going to discuss a few more elements into this essay writing, and beyond this topic also, there'll be a few more topics also which he'll suggest. I want to again emphasize, please go and complete this essay topic. Okay. इसका पूरे topic का भी discussions जो हैं, that will be available, so you can go look that up. You'll have content, and topic is generic in nature, so make sure you get the best out of this session through this, at least through this one topic, right? Okay, so all the best. Prateek, you can start.
Good evening, everyone. So we will going to talk about some other aspects of essay writing. So ma'am has already talked to you about the importance of essay writing, why it is important, and we have also shown some of the scripts from the toppers in terms of introduction, right? So now what we'll do is we'll take the same topic, right? And then we'll explore the other aspects of essay writing, okay? So going forward, can you start with the next round of essay? Like you have already written the introduction. What exactly would be the next round for your, like the essay part? So before going to a body, is there another step that you will be taking? Introduction to body connection, right? So that is very important. Good. Okay, so how would you go about this? From introduction, this intro to body transition. And why, first of all, what exactly it is, and why are we doing this? And further, how to do this? See, why we are doing this is very simple. The reason why we are doing this is because we want to maintain a logical continuum. If you look at the syllabus or whatever UPSC has provided in the notification, it mentions that you need to provide a logical, orderly fashion of ideas, right? And you need to be as close to the topic as possible. That is two things that you must remember all the time. Now, you have done the brainstorming part, I've seen that. So you have given a lot of good ideas, right? But once you know like what you have to write, unless you write it in a logical order, it will not make sense to the examiner. Why? Because writing is essentially a receiver-centric exercise. It doesn't matter what you intend to write, it matters what the person who is reading your essay, he interprets from that, right? So for that purpose, we need to make a very smooth transition. Right? So we have talked about the what part, the why part. So how can we do this transition? How would you go about that? Take any guess, like what would be your approach here? So you have written an introduction. You have already written an introduction. So right, as ma'am has mentioned, you can talk about anecdotes, anything related to happiness. For example, you can mention about iPhone sales, like iPhone 16 was recently launched. So those who did not get iPhone 16, they did not feel like they have achieved happiness. Or those those who have received iPhone 16, that was only a momentary thing. After that, they still felt really not good, okay? Then also, we can talk about the recent demise of Ratan Tata, right? So Ratan Tata had a different life. He chose a very virtuous way of living, right? So we can mention a lot of things related to current affairs, related to anecdotes. You can talk about Buddha, all these things can be done. So now your introduction part is over. Now what is the next part? You are going to connect your introduction to the body so that there's a logical flow. Now, the question is how? Now, you must have done some brainstorming, okay? So here, what you are doing here is you are merely putting all these questions that you have put in the brainstorming in this part, okay? So here's how you can do this. In this essay, we will explore, what was the first point behind your, under your brainstorming part? What is happiness, or what is the meaning of This can be done. Why there are no paths to happiness? And how happiness itself is the path. Simple, right? So once you are done with the brainstorming part, you're not just creating a flow for your essay, but you're also providing content for this part. Why and how happiness itself is the path. Something like this, okay? Not much, just this part will tell the examiner what you are going to write. And more importantly, that will tell you what you are going to write, because ultimately you'll have a lot of content to write, and this will give an indication of the order in which you will be exploring this topic. What is the meaning of happiness? Why there are no path to happiness? And now, how happiness itself is the path. Now you'll start the body, okay? So now I just want you to take 10 minutes to explore on the body. Just write 3 lines each, okay? This will be the transition. See, this is exactly the transition. You can directly write this as it is. I will show you the copies of toppers as well who have written or who have used a similar approach, okay? Now, you have written the introduction, you have given the transition. Now your job is to provide or write the body. And in the body, what you're going to write is just write, as of now, 3 points each for all these 3 questions. Question number 1 is this. What is the meaning of happiness? Here, maybe you can write 1 or 2 lines, okay? Why there are no path to happiness? You can write 2-3 lines here also. Give example, try to give examples, try to give data if possible. And how happiness itself is the path. Okay, just 3 things, and then we'll talk about conclusion, okay? Yes. Yes, definitely. If you have any alternative, you can also talk about that. Okay, yeah. See, you can talk about you can talk about any alternative here, like why there are no paths to happiness, or like, can you give an example? Or you just want, see, here what you are doing is, you're just telling what you are going to explore. So we will discuss all these aspects. Furthermore, so what you can do here is, you just talk about what is the idea of happiness and why there are no path to happiness. You can stop it right here. And you write about all these parts, and then you can talk about this. Next, we will discuss how happiness itself is the path. So you are breaking it down. So one thing is, what you can do is, you can write all the questions here itself. Or the second part which you can do is, you can take 2 or 3 questions at once, and then you write all the content, and then take up the next 2 questions. Simple. So this is like structurally you can do. Or you can also write, like a lot of students also do not follow this one as well. They directly start with the body, but that is not recommended. Okay, so this is a better approach, and try to think of other approach as well. But as of now, try to write in this, okay, just 1, 2 point, 2, 3 points in each, and then we'll discuss the body in 10 minutes, okay?
A stronghold over current affairs is your way to succeed in the UPSC Civil Services examination. Brace yourself and get detailed coverage of relevant news both nationally and internationally. With the monthly current affairs revision program starting from 26th October at 5 p.m. Enroll today and elevate your current affairs knowledge with comprehensive coverage of current affairs compiled through relevant sources such as the Hindu, Indian Express, Economic Times, PIB Yojana, and others. Expert support and personalized mentoring. Comprehensive assessment through MCQs and mains-oriented questions.
You can just write a framework, 2 points, and because we have very few time left, so we will not be able to give you so much time to further brainstorm. Okay, so we were talking about intro to body transition, right? So what exactly is the approach followed by the toppers? Okay, so I'll be showing you a couple of copies from the toppers, what approach they have followed. See, so here what they have done is, This is a copy of Kashmira Sankhe, All India Rank 22. So what she has done is, but is there no path that leads to happiness? I think this is a question mark, not two. Okay. Are there instances where the path may be that of unhappiness, but the result will lead to happiness? There are the questions that we will deal with in this essay. So you just give two main or three major points, and then you'll start that these are the questions that we'll be exploring or will be dealing with in this essay. Okay, so this is your transition part. Let's take a look at the next part. This is again a copy of Sparsh Yadav, All India Rank 51. What he has written is, in this essay, we will explore why people are not able to be happy in the moment. Okay? Why it is essential to treat happiness as a path, and finally we suggest, I think he wants to say why it is not essential to treat happiness as a path, and finally we suggest some techniques that enable us to be present in the moment, seize the day, and be happy. Okay, so this is again a same approach, but you can ask different questions. Now this is approach followed by Gautam Vivekanandan. In these two approaches, all the questions were written at single place. Okay, but what this person has done, Gautam Vivekanandan, who scored 149 marks in essay, what he has done is, he has first given this point. Okay. However, before answering those questions, it is important to understand what happiness truly is. So what happiness is, and also the reasons why it is important to be happy. See, the more simple you give things, the better it is. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. And there was another question from UPSC this year itself. All ideas having large consequences are necessarily simple in nature, something like that. Okay, so the more simple you keep, the better it is. And then he has written all the points here, and the snippet is added later. Having said that, the question returns to the table, is there a path to happiness, or is happiness itself the path? Okay, so every topper, will you see, like most of the toppers, 90% of the toppers will use the same approach. Okay, so you'll ask the questions and then you will answer those questions, as simple as that. Now we'll go to the body part. Again, yeah, there is another, I will also like to give you some examples from other topics, which is different from this, okay? So this was the question. It is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. Again, here also the approach is same. In this essay, we shall examine why this is the case, like why this is the case, and what are the obstacles in repairing broken men. We shall also see if repairing broken men is possible or not. Finally, we shall discuss how strong children can build a brighter future. So here you are also providing some futuristic version, like way forward kind of thing, okay? So again, this is the approach also followed in different essays as well, not just in this particular essay. And this is what Ishita Kishore did in these two topics. Good is the enemy of best. In this essay, very simple. In this essay, we will be further analyzing how striving to be the best can sometimes backfire. How in the long term, there is always equilibrium, and how a balanced approach can bring more rewards than pursuing extremes. Simple. Information is the currency of democracy. In this essay, कुछ और नहीं करना है, बस यही pattern follow करो. This is going to be much easier for you. Okay? In this essay, we will, again, I use नहीं करना है, we use करना है. Okay? This is the thing that you should be using. We will understand the origin and essence of democracy, the role information has played in shaping the different interpretation, its contemporary significance, and finally we'll take a peek into what the future looks like. So the topic is information is the currency of democracy. So you have to substantiate these points, right? So information is the currency of democracy. इसको बोलते हैं हम लोग thesis statement. Thesis statement मतलब something which you have to assume that it is true. Okay, and how do you substantiate this? This is done by brainstorming, और उसके बाद you may take a contrary opinion as well, कि कहाँ कहाँ पे ये valid नहीं होता है, ठीक है? कि sometimes opinion becomes more important, right? So again, this is how you provide a transition. Now अभी हम body की बात करते हैं, body of the essay. Like, okay, so what did you write here in body part? हमने डिस्कस किया था, राइट? 3 चीज चाहिए. ओके, सो इसमें 3 चीजें थी. व्हाट इज हैप्पीनेस, what is the meaning of happiness, why there are no path to happiness, and how happiness itself is the path. So पहला आ जाता है, ऐसे लिख. तो अब देखो, you can do 2 things. You can write simply like what is happiness, simple approach, or you can be creative. ठीक है, यहाँ पे सब हेडिंग दे रहे हो आप, 1-2 मत लिखना, बस यहाँ पे आप सब हेडिंग देख रहे हो. सो यू हैव गिवन इंट्रोडक्शन, आपने एक ट्रांजिशन दे दिया है. अब यहाँ पे यू आर गिविंग अ सब हेडिंग व्हाट इज हैप्पीनेस. आप ऐसे लिख सकते हो डायरेक्टली, और यू कैन बी क्रिएटिव और राइट समथिंग लाइक आइडिया ऑफ हैप्पीनेस, विदर हैप्पीनेस. इसका मतलब होता है स्टेटस ऑफ हैप्पीनेस. ठीक है, सो समथिंग लाइक दैट, so that it does not look very simple. थोड़ा simplicity ठीक है, but कहीं कहीं पे we can introduce some sophistication as well. ठीक है, so now what will you write in what is happiness? क्या लिखोगे? Anything that you would like to share? Good, good. Okay, what else? What is happiness? How would you approach? क्या क्या? Middle path virtuosity. Okay, what did you write in what is happiness? You? Acha, did you write something? No. Okay. You? Okay. Okay. Very good, very nice. So you have given that happiness is dependent on the person. Like for me, happiness can be different, and for someone else, happiness can have different meaning, right? So happiness is dependent on the person, okay? But for a lot of person, the ultimate objective of life is happiness itself. How you achieve happiness depends, right? So you can talk about, build upon this idea, and here also you can give examples as well. Do not just write your arguments, give examples as well. So what examples can you give? Ratan Tata, very nice. What else? Okay, okay, good enough. What did you write? कुछ भी example? Can you think of something now? हाँ, exactly. See, एक बार ethics में भी question आया था ये, right? About happiness. Like, question ये था कि all human beings aspire to happiness. Do you agree? Question mark. And what is the meaning of happiness according to you? ऐसा question था. So what you can do is you can talk about your idea of happiness here. कि happiness होता क्या है? Has anyone seen Mad Men series? एक है, एक series है Mad Men, देखा है आपने? तो उसमें it is about advertising, okay? So advertising, तो उसमें जो protagonist है, he talks about the idea of happiness. He says that advertising is based on one and only one thing, happiness. And what is happiness? Happiness is the smell of new car. It's about feeling that's, it's a sign on the billboard that says that everything that you're doing is fine, you are okay, something like that. So it was more of a materialist orientation of happiness, ठीक है? तो वहाँ पे आप different ideas of happiness बता सकते हो. So do not just limit yourself to one idea, try to explore more ideas, point number 1. Second point is give examples. You can talk about World Happiness Index. You can talk about 2 countries, contrast दिखा सकते हो, भूटान का और किसी और कंट्री का, मे बी कोई डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज, मे बी यूएस का, राइट? सो डिस्पाइट यूएस बीइंग इकोनॉमिकली सुपीरियर कंपेयर टू भूटान, व्हाट इज द रैंक? प्रोबेबली भूटान हैज अ बेटर रैंक इन द इंडेक्स एज कंपेयर टू यूएस, है ना? बिकॉज इट ट्रीट्स हैप्पीनेस एज एन एंड इन इटसेल्फ, नॉट एज अ मीन्स टू समथिंग. सो यहाँ पे आपने एस्टैब्लिश कर दिया व्हाट इज हैप्पीनेस थ्रू अ लॉट ऑफ एग्जाम्पल्स, थ्रू लॉट ऑफ केस स्टडीज, आपने बता दिया, ठीक है? नेक्स्ट आता है ये वाला पार्ट. why there are no path to happiness? इसमें क्या लिखोगे? Yes, very good. Because see, everyone follows different thing, right? So my value system is such that I want more money, right? So I will get happiness through the path of pursuing money as an end. But someone who is seeking spiritualism, someone who is seeking peace, right? They have a different notion of happiness. So different people have different ideas of happiness. Here you can also give examples of this a very famous story about a businessman and a fisherman. Have you heard about this story? एक बहुत ही प्रॉपर स्टोरी है. सो बहुत छोटी, बहुत ब्रीफ में बताता हूँ. सो देयर वाज अ बिजनेसमैन हु वाज टेकिंग अ ट्रिप समवेयर इन अ विलेज, राइट? तो वहाँ पे वो बैठा हुआ है, खुश है, राइट? एंड ही सीज अ फिशरमैन हु इज ऑल्सो देयर. सो फिशरमैन इज ऑल्सो टेकिंग अ लेजर, लाइक ही इज ऑल्सो नैपिंग. सो उसको बोलता है कि वाई आर यू नॉट वर्किंग? अगर आप काम करोगे तो प्रॉब्ली यू विल हैव अ बिगर बोट, और बिगर बोट होगे तो यू विल बी एबल टू कैच मोर फिश. अगर ज़्यादा फिश होंगे तो यू विल प्रॉब्ली हैव योर ओन कंपनी, यू विल बी एबल टू हैव योर ओन, लाइक यू विल बी एबल टू अर्न अ लॉट ऑफ मनी. ठीक है? तो फिशरमैन ने उससे पूछा कि व्हाट विल आई डू नेक्स्ट आफ्टर आई गेट ऑल दीज थिंग्स? तो बिजनेसमैन ने बोला कि यू विल बी एबल टू एंजॉय अ लॉट. तो फिशरमैन ने बोला कि आई एम डूइंग दैट नाउ itself. So the idea is different people have different ideas of happiness, right? So yes, and what else? So again, यहाँ पे आप दे सकते हो, give a point. See, the idea is that you give a point, you substantiate with a reason. एक framework आप follow कर सकते हो, and then give an example. PRE, ठीक है? ये simple आप follow कर सकते हो. Point, give a point, provide the reason for that point, and then give an example. आपका काम खत्म है, ठीक है? Then give an other point, other dimension. एक तो हो गया different path, different ideas है. What else? इसमें भी एक major component क्या हो सकता है? Exactly. Happiness is a very has a perishable effect. ठीक है? Perishable होता है. A lot of people who are sitting here right now, maybe you desire to write mains. You want to clear prelims first, right? तो आपको लगता है कि बिना prelims लिखे मजा नहीं आएगा, happiness नहीं मिलेगी. But once you clear prelims, you'll want to clear mains. So आपकी goal post in shift हो जाती हैं. और even if you want to have a good rank in UPSC, probably you got selected and you got a 100 rank, है ना? लेकिन फिर once you get a rank, then your happiness goal post will shift. You will want to get a home cadre. You'll probably want better jobs, right? You'll want to be served under a better politician. तो ये कभी खत्म नहीं होती है. This is just a stop gap solution. ठीक है? तो ये बहुत ही perishable होता है. What else? तो again यहाँ पे भी you have to give first argument to provide the point, though this is the point. ठीक है? So it is perishable in nature. Then you provide why it is perishable in nature, and then you give an example. तो इससे आपका एक complete argument complete हो गया. और क्या लिख सकते हो? कुछ भी, जो कोई रीजन. हाँ, सॉरी, थोड़ा सा कॉम्प्लेक्स आर्ग्यूमेंट है. ठीक है, कोई सिंपल आर्ग्यूमेंट इसके लिए? सो दिस, देखो ये वाला हमने कर लिया, डिफरेंट पाथ्स, डिफरेंट आइडियाज, वो हो गया, राइट? सो अगेन ट्राई टू कीप एज डिस्टिंक्ट पॉइंट एज पॉसिबल, राइट? हो सकता है कि अभी पॉइंट कुछ स्लाइटली डिफरेंट हो, बट ट्राई टू कीप इट एज डिस्टिंक्ट एज पॉसिबल, योर आइडियाज. If you have only two major ideas, and now this is what you should be doing during brainstorm. When you are doing brainstorming, आपने देखा होगा कि मैम ने आपको जो शो किया था उसमें बहुत पॉइंट्स लिखे हुए थे. तो पहले आप क्या करोगे कि आप पॉइंट नंबर 1 लिखोगे कि ये मेरा होगा, 2 ये होगा, 3 होगा. उसके बाद यहीं पे आप 3 पॉइंट्स लिख दोगे शॉर्ट में कि ये मेरा पॉइंट होगा. रीजन एंड एग्जाम्पल यू कैन लेटर थिंक ऑन. ठीक है? तो मे बी आपने चलो ये लिख दिया सारा, ठीक है? ये वाला हो गया आपका वो why no path to happiness. तीसरा होगा why happiness itself is the path. Itself is the path. Okay, so why it is so? okay, keeps us motivated, but that logic will also hold true for the second thing, right? Yeah, you can say that it gives better productivity because you are enjoying the process. You are not seeking the outcome. You are following what is known as nishkam karma, right? So there's a concept of nishkam karma from Bhagavad Gita. So it says that you should be not desiring the fruits, but you should be following, or you should be continuing with the action. Okay. So this is also substantiated by the recent theories. अगर आपने एक बुक पढ़ी है Atomic Habits by James Clear, he also says that you should be focusing more on the systems rather than the goals. So systems is what you should be following, and here happiness becomes a system in itself, right? So instead of following goals or path, you should be following what is known as systems or goals or happiness. ठीक है? तो ये निष्काम कर्म हो गया, point हो गया. You give a reason, you give example. Okay. Here you can also talk about Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs ने अपने comments जो एक last speech जो दिया था commencement speech में, he talked about passion. Why passion is important, why you need to be happy with what you are doing. And passion is just an extreme form of happiness, right? So because of this drive toward doing excellence in work, we were able to have products like MacBook, like iPhones, right? Very superior models. So it has revolutionized the way we are communicating right now. Okay? तो आप ये सब बता सकते हो कि why happiness is the path. और क्या हो सकता है इसमें? Because ultimately देखो essay is all about how well you argue. हम लोग बात करते हैं ना कि ये सारे dimensions लिखने होते हैं, political dimension, economic, that is one thing. But ultimately how well you argue is what is the most important thing. तो arguments इसमें अच्छे से लिखने होते हैं. So what is the second argument that you can give to this point? हाँ, इसके बाद मतलब पहले देखो एक स्ट्रक्चर में क्या होगा ना कि इसमें let's go with this only. उसके बाद let's take, you can say that, right, even though this is true, we also need to acknowledge that there needs to be certain path to happiness. उसके बाद आप counter दो. Again, क्या होगा कि कई बार आप ये लिख रहे हो, what is the meaning of happiness, और second part पे आप आ चुके हो, ठीक है? उसके बाद आपको कुछ नया point याद आया, point जो इस phase के लिए, ठीक है? तो keep it to yourself. उस समय आप नहीं लिख सकते हो क्योंकि you have completed that arc. और वहाँ पे अगर आप कहीं नया point लिखोगे, which is relating to point number 1, then it does not make too much sense, है ना? वो पूरा flow को disturb कर देगा. हाँ, exactly. एक देखो यहीं पे इसीलिए important है, and देखो बहुत लोगों को ये doubt भी होता है. So once you have started with this part, like अगर आपने point 1 पे discussion कर रहा है, तो complete it first, then start with the next part. उसको complete करो, then start with the next part. ठीक है? तो इसमें क्या हो सकता है और? Who? ये definitely नीचे you can quote. What quote will you use? जरूर सा. Yeah, you can use it. You can definitely use it. Right. But again, you have to see that this can be used as this thing, okay? It will not be a point in itself. You have to formulate a point and see how the quote will be going with that point, right? So point has to be converted into a point. The quote has to be converted into a point, and then you need to substantiate it through that quote. कि देखो ये point है, and someone else has also spoken about this. ठीक है? और क्या हो सकता है? Why happiness is the path? Positive way of thinking, yeah, you can say that it is more like, see, it relieves you from anxiety, right? So see, there can be if you are detached with the outcomes, okay, so then you are enjoying the process in itself. You are, for example, if you are preparing for UPSC, you may be thinking at the end goal, but you are also enjoying the process of studying different subjects. You're also enjoying the process of learning about various current affairs topics or about your optional. Maybe you have taken some different subject other than your graduation. Then you will be probably enjoying a lot. है ना? तो यहाँ पे you can talk about all these things. The point is, again, यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा इसको substantiate कर देना. ठीक है? So again, इसके बाद we can also talk about how वाला part भी कर सकते हैं हम लोग कि how we can cultivate the path of happiness, or cultivate happiness as the path. अब यहाँ पे थोड़े बहुत philosophical aspects को लिख सकते हो, especially with regard to Buddhism. So what did Buddha say about happiness? Any idea? Oh, very nice, very specific, good. See, as per Buddha, desire is the cause of unhappiness, right? But as a living being, is it possible to have complete annihilation of desire? No. So what you should be doing is you need to be mindful. एक mindful meditation की बात होती है that you are there in present in the moment, right? You are not thinking about your past mistakes, or you are not worrying about something which is going to happen in the future. So here you can talk about the concept of mindfulness as discussed or described by Buddha. You can also talk about the eightfold mark. That is also true. That is also good. Now what else? You can also talk about concepts from Stoicism. है ना? Stoicism में यहाँ पे बहुत कुछ लिख सकते हो आप. You can talk about Seneca, Epictetus लिख सकते हो. इनके बारे में लिख सकते हो. Marcus Aurelius. You can talk about all these people. You can. And what is the idea of Stoicism when it comes to happiness? Yes, memento mori, right? So here you need to understand that Stoics also talked about that happiness is in fact knowing what you can control and what you cannot control. So things which you cannot control, you should not worry about that. Things which you can control, you must take action on those. ठीक है? So that is also talked about Stoicism. So you have two options. You can take actions on things which you can control, and things which you cannot control, वहाँ पे you don't need to worry about. Okay? So again, this point is again similar to Nishkam Karma, right? So you cannot worry about what will be the difficulty level of UPSC. You cannot control about or how would be the pollution level of Delhi this year or this winter, right? What you can do is you can take things which are in your control. So यहाँ पे आपको Stoicism के बारे में बता सकते हो. What else? कुछ और आपको पता है इस पे? Karl Marx communism. हाँ. Again, I am glad that you raised this point. See, the thing is, try to avoid very extreme views. The person who may be reading your essay may not be a proponent of Marxism, okay? And Marxism is a very controversial ideology, right? So it talks about annihilation of state, right? It talks about classless society, which is fine in theory, but ultimately the practical manifestation, you will see that it has led to a lot of violence. है ना? I don't think that would be a very good way to do, because see, if you are talking about alienation, you will also have to talk about Marxism in its complete manifestation. So I would say avoid, because it's very controversial, okay? Try to stick with something which everybody broadly agrees with. Nobody will disagree with the method given by Buddha, okay? Nobody will disagree with the methods or things given by Stoics philosophers, right? So something like that, okay? Right, so again, this is just a broad approach. See, again, I'm also glad that you brought this point, because see, this exam is a test of your personality. You have a personality test in the third stage, but also mains or answer writing or essay is also a test of your personality. So they're testing what kind of person you are, okay? So see, again, as a future civil servant, you are supposed to be a man of real, like you have to experience the world as it is. You cannot renounce things, or you cannot advise people to renounce things, okay? So try to say things or write things which are practically not controversial, okay? Non-extreme, okay? So you have to, because see, ultimately, as a writer who's writing any essay, like you have the creativity or liberty to write anything. Those who are writing columns in the Hindu or those who are writing a blog post can write anything. But here you are serving a specific function. You are aspiring to be a civil servant. So you need to project that personality of yours. Okay? So you need to show that you are very future oriented, you are technologically savvy, you have a philosophical bent of mind, you are multidimensional, you have a multidimensional bent of mind, you are talking about all these stakeholders, है ना? तो इस तरह से you can talk about all these things, and you are also grounded in reality. ठीक है? तो reality पे हमें grounded रहना है, and we need to be realist in our approach. Yes. Right. Okay. Mm-hmm. Right, just for example, we took about Nishkam Karma from Hinduism, right? So we can take that same thing from, like from Islam, you can talk about universal brotherhood, something like that. Something which is non-controversial, something which is largely accepted by everyone. Yes, again, existentialism, essentialism, all these things can be done, but I would say avoid, because the person who is checking may not be aware of those terms, right? Huh? Yes, but again, I would say avoid, avoid, right? Because it's a very technical thing, right? I'm sure you would be like, what's your optional? PSIR. So existentialism, right, fine. So it is fine if you explain it a bit, what exactly you mean. Hmm. 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 Huh. So, right, so good. So, yeah, you can do that, but if you are using that idea, see, either you have two things. If you are using very technical things from your optional or from your graduation, you have two options. One is that you first explain that part. Existentialism says this, or proponents of existentialism has this opinion, and then you can give an example, right? Or don't use the word existentialism at all. Just write the ideas. Okay? So yeah, you can do that. Now let's take a look at what toppers have done in this body. See, this is by Sparsh Yadav. So what he has written at just the first page, happiness has been the subject of story since the ancient Greek civilization 2000 years ago. Philosophers like Socrates, Heraclitus, Aristotle discussed about eudaimonia. So that is happiness for the humanity. For Aristotle, being happy meant possessing virtues like all these things. And Aristotle realized that happiness is not an end goal, but we will be happy along the path if we. So this part gives that this is coming from the ancient wisdom. Okay. So in Indian philosophy, Charvaka believed in taking actions that brought happiness in the moment. So this is the path that the Greeks have proposed, and here it is contrasting with the Indian approach, a specific Indian approach. Not all Indian approach say this, but it's a specific approach. Myth of Sisyphus, Albert Camus, right? So yes. So he has not written the word existential. He's just written the. So this is a very famous story, right? Sisyphus. So see, again, the point is that you use very famous, well-known anecdotes. Okay, that is fine. Now, this is the second, this is just one snippet. I'll show you another snippet by Kashmira Sankhya. So what she has written is, first we shall see the happiness that lie in the path. Now, what she has done is, she has given a subheading like this. Happiness is in the path, right? She has given or drawn a box, and then she has written here arguments. So here, as you can see, she has written, in Mahabharata, Duryodhan was dissatisfied with having to share the kingdom with his brothers, the Pandavas. He was discontent, and this discontentment had him to misrule the kingdom. He was unhappy in the process. So she is also taking some cue from the Purans or Mahabharata or from spiritual things, right? And this is taken up by, the next one is by Gautam Vivekananda Nandan. Right, so he has also talked about all these things. All the arguments are there. And in this argument, before writing anything, he has given a connecting words, right? Now, as to the question of why it is important to be happy. Now, the examiner will understand what is coming in the subsequent lines. So here, all these arguments are going to be about why it is important to be happy. So he has given about what is happiness, and then why it is important to be happy, and all the important points are underlined. The keywords are underlined. There are specific connectors as well. You can see moreover, having said that. Okay, so these things you can directly write, take it from any toppers, right, and use it as liberally as possible. Okay, because that makes the job of examiner very easy. Then again, he's also done the same thing. The part to happiness, the subheading that he's using, and here he has given all these arguments. He's talked about the philosophy known as carpe diem, seize the day, and then T.S. Eliot, burnt nation, finding happiness, still point, all these things you can talk about. Also look at all these things. Additionally, another important aspect. So the point is that you are using connectors. These are called connectors. Okay. So ultimately, just to take a cue from what we have discussed, what are the ways in which you can write the body of essay? Okay. So this is the most famous one. The first one is okay. So in which kind of essay can you use this approach, sectoral dimensions? Can you use this in this essay topic, happiness? No, right? Some of them. Okay, yeah, you can do that, right? In some ways you can use, but can you give me any other example where this can be used very directly? Something from the previous year question, maybe this year question? Any question that you can recall? See, there was a question this year. All ideas with large consequences are simple in nature, something like that, right? Now here you have this keyword, large consequences, all ideas. So what you can do is, here you can take this approach very well. You can talk about social ideas, you can talk about political ideas, you can talk about economic, and so on. You can also go into international relations, you can talk about all these areas. So what will you write about here in social? All ideas with large consequences are simple. Any large thing that happened with regard to social aspect here that you can recall of? Social media is one, but I would say, see, so what is the idea behind that? Communication, okay, but I would say this is more in technological domain, right? So I see, for me, I would, if I have to write, so what I will say that the idea that men equal to women, men and women are equal is very important, right? So this is a very simple idea. What is the consequence of this idea? Women empowerment, right? So it is leading to better workforce ratio. It is leading to better education of children, better indices of infant mortality. All these things are improved, right? So you can talk about this thing. Okay, you can also talk about in terms of historical perspective about anything, right? Caste-based discrimination or religious-based discrimination, you can talk about that. Okay, so these are all simple ideas, but they have a large consequence. What about politics, political domain? Democracy, very important, right? So this is a major idea. And what is the genesis of this idea? All men are born equal. Nobody is equal. Nobody has given the birthright to rule on someone. So elections can be one, democracy can be one. Economic, capitalism, free market economy, right? Huh? Yes, Adam Smith. So the idea of exchanging goods for services, barter system, was a very simple idea, but it changed, revolutionized the way we are communicating or trading, right? So it's a very important idea. Now, can you give a counter idea to this? Are all the ideas with large consequences, are they necessarily simple, or there are some complex ideas as well? Yes, yes. So see, so there are some ideas where which are very complex in nature, right? So which have large consequences, but they are not simple in nature. For example, quantum mechanics, in physics, science, artificial intelligence, chat GPT, right? So they have a huge consequence. Now, what is the consequence of chat GPT? That it is also leading to loss of white collar jobs. Okay, so you can link that. You can also talk about, like you mentioned about democracy. So democracy, we are following what process of election, first past the post. But there is also another form of election, proportional representation. It is very complex in nature, but it is still very important in order to ensure that it is accommodating the minority votes. Okay? So there are certain virtues of complex ideas as well. So यहाँ पे आप ऐसे कर सकते हो, like you can talk about all these dimensions. ठीक है? So अब ये बताओ, in which areas you will choose this approach? Temporal dimensions. This you understood, right? Sectoral dimension, how you can, it is possible in most of the essays, okay? Try to see in which essay you can follow this approach. And especially this is important, or it is relevant for theme-based essays. What are theme-based essays? So basically, essays are of two kinds. Okay, essay can either be a philosophical essay, or it can be a theme-based essay, information-based essay, right? So what are theme-based essay? Okay, any example of that? Right, so theme can be anything, like social media, as you were talking about, right? So social media, boon or bane. Or this year's topic, social media is creating FOMO among the youth. FOMO is fear of missing out among youth, creating depression and loneliness, right? So that can be a theme, right? Or it can be about globalization. Is globalization under retreat? Something like that. So globalization, again, you can talk about various aspects of globalization. Okay. What else? Education can be there. Idea of new education, or is new education policy constructive, or is it beneficial, or is it going to have some impact? Something like that. Okay. Or about women. So there are a lot of questions which have come related to women. Anything court related or any status related to women can be asked. Social media we have covered. Globalization is again a very important topic. And now health, yes. Health is very important. Health, climate change, very nice. So again, I would say, try to look at these things in terms of some contradiction. Climate change contrasted with some sort of materialism. Materialism versus climate change. So this year there was a topic that said that forest precedes civilization and desert follow them. So in a way it was talking about the cyclical nature of development, right? So there is an aspect of materialism, and then there is an aspect of climate change or climate change induced issues or hardships, right? So here you can talk about that. So again, the idea is that, this approach can be done very effectively when it comes to theme-based essay. Okay. Or to some extent in also philosophical essays, where you have to explore the topic in greater depth. Temporal dimensions. Any example of essay where we can use this approach? Koi example, give me a topic. Make any topic. Happiness itself, yes, you can do that. So happiness and no part to happiness, right? So you can do that. What else? You can also use the same thing. All ideas having large consequences are simple in nature. So you can talk about how in the past, the larger consequences were due to simple ideas. You can give some examples. Then you can talk about medieval period. Then you can talk about modern period, something like that. So you can talk about the evolution of that idea, right? Now, how will you approach this what? Prospect, success, issues, way forward. This is again a different way of writing body. So this is more applicable in areas which is given as a thesis statement, especially like topic like globalization. Globalization is it under retreat? So here you will talk about the prospect, what led to success of globalization in the first place, then what are the issues, contemporary issues and the historical issues which are arriving, which we are seeing, and how we can reduce or address those issues. Okay, so this is a way you address a case study. Okay, so you talk about all the data which is there at your disposal, and then you talk about the various pros, cons, and the way forward. So just like you answer a GS question. Okay. And this approach, individual, family, society, community, nation, globe, this approach can also be done for various kinds of essay topic. Can you give an example where it can be used? Any topic? Women topic? Right, so you can talk about, see, educating, when you educate a woman, you educate a generation, something like that. So here you can talk about how it is true at the individual level, how it is true at the family level, how it is true at the societal level, something like that, right? So again, you can use this approach, and you can use a combination of these approach. Okay, ऐसा नहीं है कि आप बस को एक ही approach use करना है. You can use combination of approach. आप ऐसा कर सकते हो इसमें. Most commonly used is this one only, and then to some extent this one. यहाँ पे generally बहुत specific cases में ही जा सकते हो आप, but in a way this will be part of your body itself. Okay. Next we go to conclusion. Do we have some time? See, this topic was there. Wars are poor chisels of carving out peaceful tomorrow. So here the topper has chosen a temporal dimensional analysis, मतलब time based. तो पहले क्या था historically, वैदिक पीरियड में क्या रहा था, ऋग वैदिक पीरियड में, फिर उसमें क्या था, फिर contemporary times में क्या हुआ. So something along this line. Here the person has written about what is happening at the political level, what is happening at the economic level, environment, social level, historical level. So what she has done is she has also put that under box so that the examiner knows where exactly these points are mentioned. तो आप भी ये कर सकते हो. Okay. Now, a small exercise. Based on what is written here, can you guess the topic of the essay? The content? एक मिनट पढ़ना और बताना मुझे कि what do you decipher? What should be the ideal topic? Think. Sorry? Based on the wars, try to think of a theme, like just write any topic which can be true for all these points, which is connecting all these paragraphs. No. Yes, very close. See, because such kind of exercise will help you absorb information in a much better way. Okay, so in mathematics we have not exactly. It's like you are close also, but not very close. Like it's very specific, huh? Refugees, yes. Again, you have addressed some part. You have also connected some part, but not exactly. Try to think in a more generic sense. They will not ask very specific question. Diversity and refugee. See, what are we talking about essentially? What is the core idea behind these things? Human rights, good. See, it is based on a quote by a human rights activist. and it is see here what is at political level, Afghanistan turmoil and its implication faces neighboring countries like India reflects growing interconnectedness in the world. So this is the keyword here. So there is an interconnectivity here. Economically, importance of multilateralism can be gauged from the impact that Brexit and US justice trade war pose for the world. Environmentally, perhaps is the most prominent of the impacted sphere. So something like that. Okay, so it is up talking about connectivity, globalization, right? So basically the topic was injustice anywhere is threat to justice everywhere. Okay, so he has given various dimensions, okay, in terms of political justice, economic justice, environmental justice, all these things. Okay, so try to think from this perspective, LHS equal to RHS. We have read that in our mathematical class, maths classes. Okay, so try to figure out this out, try to have different approaches to studying. Okay. Now, use of subheadings. So we have already discussed how toppers are using subheadings. Subheadings means either you can use this in box or you can use this in a caps form. The idea is to draw attention of the examiner to your points. Okay? So you can write something like this. This was done by Aditya Srivastav. So he has also used very recent anecdotes. It is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. So all these points which used these subheadings are listed here. Keep your face to sunshine and you cannot see a shadow. So subheadings, all these things are mentioned. Right? So in a way, subheadings are points from your brainstorming. Okay? Use of connectors, as we discussed, that it shows the transition part. However, similarly, on the other hand, use them very creatively. Okay? And this was done by Aditya Srivastav, rank 1 this year. Now, conclusion. I would advise you to write the conclusion in your home, okay, and see what kind of conclusion you are writing. In general, what is the basic idea behind conclusion is that you give closure to what you have started. Okay, so you need to be logical in your approach. So what you need to do is you need to close the argument. So do not just write one paragraph for conclusion. The reason is there is specific or specified amount of marks for both introduction and conclusion. Okay, so there will be certain marks which are allocated for the conclusion part. So make sure that you write a good conclusion and a somewhat detailed conclusion. At least I would say 2 paragraphs. At least 2 paragraphs. Okay. So in the first paragraph, what you can do is you can summarize your arguments. You can do that. You can say that what exactly have you written so far, and then in the last part, what you can do is you can write a quote. You can, if you have used an anecdote earlier, you can complete the anecdote here, or you can talk about some forward-looking arguments or something, suggestions or way forward. As you can see from Kashmira Sankhya, she has written that thus happiness can be cultivated. One must not fret over small things and pursue the path of happiness. However, happiness need not be sought after. It will come by practicing the path of moderation and keeping a happy state of mind. So this is the key arguments which she had written. And then she has given some quote. As Marcus Aurelius said, very little is needed to make a life happy or happy life. It is all within yourself. It is in your way of thinking. One should look at internal sources, and this way happiness can be found in the path itself. Okay, so this is exactly telling what the topic is all about. This Gautam Buddha said that there is no path to happiness, but happiness is the path itself. Okay, something like that you can write. Same Gautam Vivekanandan has also done. He is also right. By this point, it is quite evident. So all these things he has mentioned. Then he has given a quote from Dr. Kalam that where there is happiness in the heart, there is harmony in the home, and when there is a harmony in the home, there is peace in the society. Okay, so something like that you can do. And then he has started with Robert Frost, if you remember, poem, right? So he has also concluded with that. Perhaps the road taken by Robert Frost 2 was a combination of both. So he's saying that you need both, right? So in general, what we have done is we are talking about that happiness itself is the path. He's saying that we need both. We need happiness, path to happiness, as well as happiness as the path, okay? So he said that the road taken by Robert Frost 2 was a combination of both. So you can do that as well, okay? So conclusion, we have talked about what is the importance of conclusion. And there are other things also, like same, just like you introduce something, you also give a closure here, okay? You can also give poem based, if you are creative, if you are into poetry, it's a very good advantage. Or someone was asking whether you should write the word introduction or conclusion or not. Ye bhi, though, but you can write this term, to conclude. So the examiner will understand that you are writing about the conclusion, okay? So to conclude, you can write this and then leave a paragraph and then write this way forward, okay? What not to do in an essay, I think all of you are aware of this, okay? Just that you need to follow what UPSC has given in its syllabus. You need to break it down further. Make sure whatever you know is reflected in the topic of the essay. Do not stray away from that, okay? Make sure that you are writing closely to it, okay? Avoid extremes. This is very important. Yeah. So any questions? Don't attribute quotes to the wrong people. You can have your quotes, but make sure that you attribute it to the right people. Sometimes they may not check, but most often they will be aware of those quotes, okay? This thing is very important, that don't write too long sentences, right? Because when you write too long sentences, what it does is it somehow reduces the ability for comprehension, okay? So make sure that you write simple sentences, effective sentences, okay? Also avoid naming politicians, political parties, right, unnecessarily. And do not go overboard on a single dimension. You need to show that you have a multi-dimensional approach. Make sure that you are providing different, just write, again, same approach which I mentioned earlier, point, reason, example. Then get out from there, okay? Don't use informal language, okay? Use formal language because they expect you to be serving or a future officer. So use as formal language as possible, okay? Right, and this is very important point. What happens is when you write essay for the very first time, you will give a lot of time for the one essay, maybe 2 hours, and then you'll be left with only 1 hour for the next essay. So you'll cut down on the brainstorming part. You'll cut down on certain aspect of the essay. Make sure you practice a lot of essays, okay? At least start with brainstorming first, okay? Brainstorming part को करना ही करना है, and इसके लिए सबसे अच्छा तरीका ये है कि you can go to the previous year questions and try to attempt the brainstorming without writing the introduction, body and conclusion. Just say what points you can generate from this. Then think what anecdotes I can write here, what examples I can mention, right? और इसके लिए best sources होगा, right? Apart from the things which you are reading from your static books, I would advise you to read a couple of non-fiction books as well, right? In case you are not able to read these books or any books, make sure that you read the summary of these books. In YouTube, if you go, and you'll find that they have given a lot of summaries of this book. So make sure that you go and check the core ideas behind this books, right? Because this will help you in your introduction, in your body, in your conclusion. And couple of books that I want to suggest: Why Nations Fail. This recently got Nobel Prize for Economics. The authors got that. So they talk about institutions, role of institutions, and why some nations are very prosperous, why some nations are very poor. So they give a very good arguments in terms of stability of institutions, okay? Good economics for hard times. This is very important when it comes to the developmental economics. Here you can also read about books by Amartya Sen, right? All these books by Yuval Noah Harari is very good because it talks about storytelling. Sapiens, right? Sapiens, Homo Deus, it talks about artificial intelligence, how human can evolve to be a god, right? And what are the consequences of that? So it's a very good source to know all about this. And then he has also written a book about 21 lessons for 21st century. So it talks about all the themes like migration, globalization, poverty, all these things have covered very beautifully. So you can just take a major crux what they have given, okay? Then there's a book by Dr. S. Jaishankar called Why Bharat Matters. So to know about the background of the international relations, why we have adopted such and such foreign policy, right? Why China is a threat, why US and India are cooperating at several ways, right? Especially in Indo-Pacific. So this will give you a very good idea about it, okay? Man's search for meaning. See, UPSC is asking a lot of philosophical essays, and this is a very excellent initiator of philosophical domain, okay? So you'll talk about what is the meaning of life, okay? And how should you pursue happiness? So they give very good anecdotes, very good ideas, very good thesis statement. So this was written by Viktor Frankl, I guess, right? So you can go and refer to this. Then definitely this is not non-fiction, this is fiction only. So anecdotes from Panchatantra, Mahabharata, Ramayana, right? So you can use it, especially when it comes to wisdom, when it comes to anger, right? Something like that. Then these are the themes that you will find repeated across the papers. There will be a question on education, social media, women, globalization, and you'll be reading this in different domains of your GS paper as well. But the approach that you will be following when it comes to essay is slightly different. How? Here you need to think from what arguments you need to provide. You need to look into the temporal aspect. What was the status of education during ancient period? What was the status of education during medieval India or medieval period? And what is the status of education currently? Right? You need to also collect data on education. What is the level of learning that we are observing? What is the issues with regard to higher education and all these things, right? And what are the solutions? So you need to have 2-3 pages of information or some sort of draft compiled for this topic. And you need to create for every topic, right? Education, these are some of the important topics. Education, social media, women, globalization, domains like philosophical domains like meaning of life. So what is the meaning of life? How Greek philosophers have described the meaning of life, how Indian philosophers have described the meaning of life. What is the meaning of life according to you? Can you think of any examples, right, that show that this is a good approach towards happiness, courage of conviction, all these things. Again, here also I would like to add a couple of points like artificial intelligence, machine learning, all these things are very important again, okay? That's it from my side. I hope this was somewhat useful to you. You can ask any question that you have. Right. So the question is how to deal with philosophical essays. So if you look at this previous year question, out of 8 essays, 7 essays were philosophical in nature. So earlier, this was a notion that people would advise students to avoid philosophical essays, right? But UPSC is asking all philosophical essays now, so there is no avoiding philosophical essays. Yeah, so in a way it is compulsory. Just a second. Yes. So in this year, out of 8 essays, 7 essays were philosophical. This was theme-based, social media essay. Okay. Rest all of them were based on some idea. Now the question is how to deal with philosophical essay. Okay. The first thing is you need to have some understanding about ethics. Ethics is very important here because in ethics, there's a thing called contribution of moral leaders, right? Key learnings from moral leaders of India and the world, right? So if you first need to know something about the contributions, okay? So here, what you can do is you can do a brief reading on some of the key thinkers, such as Mahatma Gandhi, such as Vivekananda, right? So 1-2 aspects you can talk about. You can also refer to the key learnings of Buddhism, key learnings of Greek philosophy, okay? So you need to first identify what are the existential questions that they are trying to address, okay? Now, the second approach with regard to, once you have done the basic reading, is that you need to ask questions. Philosophy is based on one and only one thing, asking question. Asking question is the foundation of knowledge, as was discussed under, or as was dealt under the Greek civilization, done by Plato, done by Socrates, okay? So you need to ask question. And how do you ask question? You break it down into its various components. Just like we discussed in this topic, happiness topic, you need to break it or fragment it into various components, and then you need to address it piece by piece. Okay, so once you have done a brainstorming, you need to collect evidences. You need to find from what you have read and try to link it with the topic which is asked. Okay, and also I would advise you to have some ideas from scholars, like such as Karl Marx, right? So again, what they have given is sometimes very controversial, but there are certain key ideas that you can use. Okay, scholars like John Rawls, things which have asked in UPSC has already asked. So he has given the idea of justice, right? So justice, as a layman, you may have a different idea when you have read polity, but when you read justice, which is given by John Rawls or which is given by Michael Sandel, you'll have a complete different idea of justice. So my suggestion is have a broad reading, okay? And do include non-fiction books in your itinerary, okay? Right. Huh. See, again, here you have to give examples that sometimes action is very important. You don't have to worry about whether it's going to be good, whether it is going to be bad, right? Sometimes, so for example, when it comes to foreign policy, so we have a wait and watch foreign policy when it comes to Afghanistan, right? But when we are not doing anything, it is leading us to make our assets more vulnerable there. So we need to take some action. So for example, when it comes to Pakistan, we took the action of surgical strikes. So we did take some action. So even though there was some cost, the cost of not doing was far, far more than as compared to cost of doing something. So it may be wrong, it may be right, but you need to take action. So topic is about taking action. Okay, so you need to take action, do not worry about the consequences. Okay? So this is how you should approach philosophical topics. Or koi doubt? Haan. Third person is preferable, but you can use first person like we. Do not use I. You can use one can do this, one can do that, or you can use we should do this, we should do that, right? We will see, because toppers have used it and toppers have got very good marks using this. So we can say with confidence that you can definitely use it. Right from the toppers of 2013, Gaurav Agrawal, to the topper of this year, Aditya Srivastav, they have been using such terms. So it is fine. Okay, as far as because they have used the same thing in mock essays and they have used that in the actual essay, so it is fine. Okay. Yes, you had a question? Yes. Right. Right. See, again, the very good question. So see what sometimes UPSC will give you topics which you do not agree with. Maybe you have a different idea behind that topic, but keep that to yourself and only focus mostly on your 90% of your essay will be about supporting the thesis statement. So you have to consider this as truth at most of the time. And if you have any valid critical differences, then that can be given towards the end. But that should not be too much. Okay, just that, for example, you say that forests precede civilizations and desert follow them. You may say that sometimes desert do not follow them. Sometimes civilizations are not preceded by forests, something else. So here you are taking forest in a very inclusive sense, not literally forest, but you're talking about the resources. Okay, so here you're talking about resources and you are talking about how extractive approach is causing harm to the environment. So you need to have a very inclusive approach when it comes to environment because that builds and sustains civilization. Okay? Okay. Any other doubt? That is fine. See, again, here, the thesis statement, like you have a very good thing. Like, see, the thing is, you have to support the thesis statement. That is the general thing, right? And then you also give counter arguments as well, right? And towards the end, what you are doing is you are just summarizing what you have said and you are giving a way forward. So in case you have given the arguments which does not support the thesis statement, then you can definitely give a conclusion which is not supporting the thesis statement. Okay, so in most of the cases, you will be supporting the thesis statement, 90% of the cases. Sometimes you may find that you strongly believe that this idea, all ideas having large consequences are always simple. So you may say that, okay, I do not believe in this. I think that all ideas having large consequences are not simple, but they are complex in nature. So you can talk about how complex ideas are there in political domain, how complex ideas there in economic domain. And then towards the end, you can say that, okay, for few ideas, maybe in few domains, there are certain ideas which have large consequences, but are always simple, right? So here you can take a different approach, but my suggestion is that agree with the thesis statement. Most of the toppers, like this was very rare incident where the topper did not agree with the thesis statement, but your approach should be to agree with the thesis statement and then write, if you have any disagreement, to write it towards the end. Okay, anything that can be different, you can write it towards the end, and in the conclusion, just summarize your point, and then in the next paragraph, write a way forward or a suggestion, something like that. ठीक है? और कुछ doubt? Very good questions, by the way, all of you. Mining, देखो, basically they are very well-read people. Okay, so all of these things are not something which are coming out of vacuum. So the more you read, the more you'll understand what is the context behind this, right? So you have to read a lot. You have to read non-fiction. You have to read speeches given by Prime Minister, because in those speeches, they also mention a lot of quotes, not just from the well-known authors, but they will also quote from Bhagavad Gita. They will quote from, say, any famous poet. So you'll get a lot of content from that. And it takes time, okay? थोड़ा सा time लगेगा आपको build करने में. नहीं. See, if you are talking about the learning that you have, you are not espousing or you are not supporting a particular way of path. नहीं, आप बस उसकी learning बता रहे हो, so it's totally fine. ठीक है? कोई और doubt? ठीक है, thank you so much. I hope this was useful to you. कुछ समझ में आया होगा? ठीक है, thank you so much.